Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Galaria's Smite League today. Today, we're starting with the quarterfinals, the first game of the tournament here, and we'll actually have the Spaced Out versus Protectors of Yggdrasil here. Whoever wins this one goes into the winner of King Kai's and Benadryl Babylonians, and should be an interesting start to this tournament.
Yeah, it definitely will be. We're starting off with the bottom side of the bracket, so I always appreciate that one. But I'm really excited about this. I've been following these teams quite a bit, so definitely should be a good match. Excited to see a bit of the psychology that's built in picks and bans, especially coming into the playoffs.
Definitely for sure. Especially with how competitive these games have been so far. And one thing just to get a little bit out here, there has been a bit of a name change. There's a guy named Killhell who has renamed himself to Expert X. So if you hear us talking Expert X or Killhell, that is who it is. A little bit of a name change there is. We go into a start of a band that's Sasano. Protectors? That must be a target ban of protectors because I do
Oh,
not see that one very often.
yeah, it is. Blank Tsukiyomi, kind of a good player. Uh, so people have said. So these are definitely picks that I've seen him play. You know, I've been watching his games. These are all picks he definitely plays a tri-ban on him. But Prex of Yggdrasil, keeping their calm, going with the Capri ban, not wanting to deal with that. Lancelot and Freya all standard. But a Yu Huang locking in is definitely a good pick. Has a lot of merit to it. Really only one of the burst mages that is in the meta. Protectors of Yggdrasil definitely has to respond to something. And it looks like a Ganesh is going to be locked in, and a Shiva is too. Uh, we haven't seen Shiva in a while.
Def-
It's
Definitely not for a while. Definitely a spicy pick. Probably just there for the disruption, but
yeah, definitely. Shiva's an interesting god. He's definitely in an interesting spot. Definitely not who I think of like as the best. He brings a lot to the table. He brings healing. He brings disruption. He brings wide damage. And he's just overall a lane bully. But a lot of his items got hit really hard, and he's not in the greatest spot. So I'm definitely excited to see this as an Uller gets locked in. We've been seeing Uller a lot in mid, so maybe it's going to go over there. But to catch up, Spaced Out did lock in a Cthulhu and a Hachiman. Cthulhu, great team fight presence, has a bit of a harder time into that Ganesha due to just being able to accidentally walk in to Ganesha's ultimate. Really is a rough time. But Hachiman, a very safe god, and we sort of when we get to these playoffs, we definitely see a lot of more safer gods come out, even if they're not the best.
it'll be definitely interesting. I mean, it's two of the safest carries in the game. Yeah, Yu Huang with his 3 and ultimate. You got Hachi with his 3 and ultimate. Should be interesting to see how the Yggdrasil plays into this one, especially since they've already opted for a Uller, who is known for highly being aggressive.
Yeah, high aggression, definitely interesting. Um, and spaced out, going with a Penta Assassin's Band. So that is Kali and Ravana. Kali is a bit more meta. Auto attack junglers are just really good, frankly. And Ravana, kind of, he can be favored. We've seen him more so in the solo, so I'm not too sure about this. Again, pretty natural, but I really want to talk about the Scylla. So what does Scylla bring to the table in our current meta?
I believe if she brings in a lot of burst, it just takes a lot longer to get online than Yu Huang. So, uh, this team is definitely gonna have to play around the Uller a bit early game to help facilitate the Scylla, maybe the Shiva or Ganesha or whoever their final pick is. Because though she does hurt a little bit earlier, Yu Huang's usually gonna win out on that starting damages. Wait, who's their jungler?
Okay, all right. So, um, I'm not too sure.
Uller?
Uh, it could be Uller. I I don't really know. It's a toss up between Shiva solo and Uller jungle, or Uller solo and Shiva solo. I mean, Shiva jungle. It it could be really spicy. They could be throwing Xbalanque into the jungle. Who knows?
Shivalunki in the jungle. But yeah, I'm definitely probably leaning towards Shiva jungle, Uller solo. That's been very very popular, especially in the SPL. You see a lot of solar or troll playing it, so they should probably be maybe opting for that. But who knows? I've seen Uller jungle happen in many comp leagues, community wise. So it'll be interesting to see where they go with this one.
Yeah, it definitely will be. Well spaced out, they ended up picking up the Geb and the Gilgamesh, so it is gonna most likely be a Gilgamesh jungle. Um, it's he offers a lot of stun, a lot of CC, a lot of just wide disruption, a lot of team fight presence. Spaced out definitely looking towards that team fight. I mean, Geb not really known for his early pressure. Hachiman can bring a lot of damage, but most importantly, safety. Cthulhu, well, I think we all know the answer. Cthulhu just goes up to his ultimate and becomes an absolute raid boss. And Yu Huang, although a really safe god, that's all that really is good in his laning phase. Not much else.
So it'll definitely be interesting to see. So as you said, team one's very team fighty. Team two seems to be playing for a very aggressive early, and scaling the late with Scylla. And looking at this on paper, which team do you think you're favoring going into this first game here? I think personally I'm favoring Spaced Out just because the comp seems much cleaner, seems very forward. But yeah,
Yeah, I almost have to favor Spaced Out. Protectors of Yggdrasil, they have a pretty good draft on paper as we go into the game. But it is going to be end up being that Allure jungle. Very very interesting. Not something we see all too much. But they don't really. The main problem is they don't have much set up for um literally the Scylla. They have a stun from Uller and Ganesh's dash. They don't have much else. Anyone else can just escape whenever they want. While spaced out for this Yu Huang to get off their burst damage, they have a stun from Hachiman if he gets end up getting close enough, a stun from Geb in his ultimate or a knock up, a stun from Gilgamesh that stuns other people, and Cthulhu with his dash even has a stun. So there's so much setup surrounding this Yu Huang that it almost becomes easy. As we're seeing it right here, we saw the big damage, and he falls to half health.
getting a little bit. I was about to say a different term, but definitely action packed in the certain phases. Uller almost dies to that dropkick, and yeah, I do agree with you. There's just way too much setup for the Huang versus the Scylla has what? Yeah, as you said, Uller and what's the other one you said? Ganesha, Uller and
Literally.
Ganesh. Like you get the knockups from Shiva who can set up, but they nerfed that early on. They don't really knock up long enough anymore, but
Yeah.
it's definitely gonna be interesting seeing how they want to play around this Scylla. It could be also for the safety. I know
Yeah.
that Scylla is deemed a safe god, but those are the only things I can think of off the top of my head.
Maybe. I mean, they also have some really good objective burn. I mean, Xbalanque, Uller, Ganesha, Shiva, and then with the objective Secure and Scylla, definitely is a very good pick. And, within playoffs, whenever we get to playoffs, as much as we see safe gods, we also see gods that confirm objectives. So much. I mean, we metas almost change as soon as you enter playoffs, just because Scylla somehow comes back into the meta, even being not that good for so long. If she can secure an objective, that's kind of what you need.
Yeah. It'll be definitely interesting. I didn't even think about the objective burn aspect, so I think that's probably where protectors of Yggdrasil have gone for this draft. As looking at a red buff, and nope. Okay, they started positioning toward the red buff, so yeah, and it does look like they plan on invading it here. As Scylla's the only one there. Rose
And
crashed a
yeah, she
little bit
got the
early,
crush. Yeah.
and yeah, this
Uh,
is just gonna wait Gilgamesh.
yeah, it's gonna be going to Gilgamesh. Really good plays. I mean, you got to keep the Scylla down early, because if you don't, then she can turn into a literal monster. But if she doesn't get constant, if she doesn't get that stream of XP, well, she's just gonna fall behind real early and not really able to catch up.
Definitely punishing the Scylla's early game. As Yu Huang scales a little bit faster, but if Scylla can't follow up, then it's gonna be dangerous. As everyone's just kind of chilling out around here. There is a blue buff invade happening. Uller and Shiva over here trying to put down this Cthulhu as early as possible in respect to the Scylla. invades. So good work on the protectors of Yggdrasil, just trying to put down someone else on the team as their mid laners getting focused.
Yeah, it's definitely what I would do. Like if your mid laner is getting focused, yeah, I'd want to help the Scylla in this case, but also it's kind of the same case. You don't want a Cthulhu being even. You don't want him having an easy time getting into this late game, because if he does, well, they have two team fight monsters, and then it just kind of spirals out of control from there. I would like to talk about the fact that Space Down protects Yggdrasil's jungles. Um, have a bit of differing starts. The Uller is going for a Bumba's Dagger into tier 1 of Transcendence, Dominance, or even Hydras, that type of tree, while the Gilgamesh is going for the Eye of the Jungle and just some sort of katana.
My thing is probably that one Uller will want the Bumba's like hammer usually, though it got nerfed, so probably gonna opt for Bumba's spear, I imagine. But Transcendence, just typical Uller start, whereas the Ganesha Protector or Eye goes into Protector, and then Golden Blade is just super good for clear. So that's probably my thinking for the starts. Really just
Yeah.
good starts, just heads up stuff.
Yeah, Golden Blade did get a small nerf. Doesn't offer as much speed and some other things, but it's still really good because this the speed was nice, but you're buying it for the clear. There's no question about it. It makes your clear 10 times better. As you know, we're seeing this get back. You know, they just kind of chilling. Not much is happening in this early game, and with these two comps, it's nothing's really expected. We're not seeing anything out of the ordinary, really. Yeah, well, uh, scratch that. Randy R. Let's go ahead. Let's take a gander all the way to the dual lanes builds as we see the Hachiman with a more interesting build.
Death's Toll is definitely just a decent starter, decent sustain. You get a lot of
Mhm.
mana, and then the Leather Cowl is just for the team fight. Just lets you have a bit more attack speed early,
Yeah,
and then you have movement speed later, but not too different from what I would normally
not
see on an
not
ADC.
yeah, it's definitely not spicy, but it's different. And it also changes a bit of your builds. With Hachiman, you know, there's a possibility of going Failnaught. By buying Death's Toll, it makes buying another attack speedless item less likely because like you don't really have much. You're already buying Transcendence, and if you're gonna go crit, well, that's Deathbringer. So you have two slots in your oh, 2 to 3 slots in your build that is dedicated just to 0 attack speed, meaning that likely this X Blanca is just gonna be out damaging you with the cowl. But the sustain brings a completely different story. So that makes me believe that this Hachiman is almost has to not go into crit.
It is definitely one thing you can think of. Hachiman also has a stem as well,
Mhm.
so that might help him in the end game. Though that does sacrifice a bit of his damage if he does use that on himself. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how he goes. He goes on to dominance instead of transcendence. That's a definitely one I haven't seen very often, but it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, excited how it plays out. Dominance has its perks, a lot of early pen. Uh, it you're getting on your basic attacks 25% pen
As
with
there's
the
a
15% extra, and then the 10%. But yeah, we're just kind of seeing some fighting for this camp. A fight might just break out here.
good peel from that Ganesha to keep that Uller from being chased down a little bit farther, as Yu Huang did hit a bit of damage on Uller on the back end.
Yeah,
That almost got spicy.
almost, but sadly, almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, and well, this is Smite, so real
Smite can get
unfortunate
spicy
there.
sometimes.
It can get spicy, but it isn't horseshoes or hand grenades, so almost will never matter. But a good gank possibility here.
Uller missed the axe, unfortunately. So this Hachiman will survive. His safety definitely coming in handy there. And taking a little bit of a pivot from one side of the map to the other. Looking at the Soul Lane builds, not too unexpected of the Cthulhu Guardians going Conduit Gems. Missing a fight over and left. Uller almost dying. Hachiman gonna expend the ultimate, but get the kill. Gabs ganking over here. Helped out as it looks like they weren't expecting the purple buff invade. Blue team.
I mean, yeah, I don't think anyone was besides Spaced Out. It definitely it brings a lot of safety, and thus with the safety you can bring aggression because you do a lot more, but also it just looked like the dueler was just caught out. I mean, he used his jump not to the tower, so he couldn't block the Hachiman ultimate shot, and well, that almost ended up killing him in a way. So they're definitely a very pathing, not the best. But that just sometimes happens, and especially with a Hachiman, where really stuff like that can and will always happen. It definitely breeds a lot more, a tougher lane for this Xbalanque, as
Gilgamesh.
Locky is
Gilgamesh
gonna
is looking.
meet. Dangerous
Rockies,
game
no,
here.
very dangerous game. Forces out the ultimate Geb behind, but
Good
Ganesh was
silence.
there to clear him out. And, going back on that, Uller Uller also got poked out in mid lane, and then had the audacity to come over there, show his face to Hachiman to say, "Hey, I'm still poked out," and that must have just been the go button. That would be the go button for me. It's like this guy don't got health. We
Yeah,
can fight him square on. So definitely heads up from Spaced Out to get that invade off.
yeah, definitely. As these builds go deeper, we're seeing some interesting developments. Relic Dagger being picked up by the Gilgamesh. Um,
Interesting.
Definitely has its merits. I mean, you get a bit of that movement speed, you get a bit of cooldown, you get some nice stuff from it. You also, the whole thing. Relics. They get on cooldown less. That makes sense.
And
But with the Shiva, he's going more so of a more quote unquote traditional build for him. Soul Eater and Glad Shield. That's what you expect. Although I would have liked
ooh,
to see. Ooh, nice axe.
great axe out of Uller. Though, and beads out of him, though the dueling dragons are waiting for him, and Gilgamesh are gonna catch him. No jump left, and Gilgamesh is gonna collect the kill on that Uller. Great fight from the Spaced Out there. I mean, great relic usage and just
Ooh,
ability to get out with Uller, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. Hachiman also being forced to use his ultimate on the opposite side of the map. So great plays from both teams. It's Ganesh.
yeah,
Ganesh, be careful. Because he is under tower though, so Cthulhu making a little bit of rotation, but not gonna get much out of it.
yeah. It is Shiva. Looks like he followed the rotation. Maybe they're looking for something. They're just being pals. Typical solo lane stuff. But back onto what I. Ooh, maybe not. Never
Hachi
mind.
beats.
Hachi did beads there. Very interesting. But Gilgamesh is coming around.
Um,
So is Geb looking for the
Shiba
flank.
Shibalanki's gonna have to be careful as Gilgamesh is just following. He's waiting for that dash. Beats out of Shibalanke, so getting the beats out of Hachi is just gonna be a reverse right back to the Shibalanke, force the run back to his tower, expend that beats. Mm, Pyromancer
Yeah,
being pulled by the red team. I mean, heads up play. You just saw 3 and left. Why not go for this one? Even Shiva rotating for this one. And
yeah.
Cthulhu not seeming to be aware, though he is starting to make his way that direction, but it's gonna be a little bit too little bit too late.
Yeah, too little, too late. Uh, but back onto the point that I've been trying to get out. These guys suddenly just picked up the pace of the game 12 minutes in. Uh, Shiva picking up this Glad Shield provides a lot, but you're against a Cthulhu. Not exactly what I would have liked to see. With against Cthulhu, you really want magical defense. You want to get it online earlier, but it looks like uh, you know, it's sped kill heal has really not been affected by it, so looks like it's been working out for him as um, Gilgamesh is getting a more defensive item, probably going to be Berserkers.
Yeah, it is a little bit weird to go Glad Shield first, but the Soul Eater should be enough to sustain you from whatever damage Cthulhu's gonna do. But shouldn't hurt him too hard. Glad Shield also being a bit of a damage power spike for solo laners nowadays is Gilgamesh getting kind of rocking that left jungle. Luckily, only Ganesh is there, but could have rotated. But yeah, I mean, it's just a defensive item that also gives you a lot of power as a solo laner. So definitely not the decision that seems the most natural, but definitely not a bad one either. As it looks like
Yeah,
both teams are positioning around this Gold Fury. And
yeah,
nope,
definitely.
and they're looking for this kill. Shibalanki used his beads in that last fight and can't get out of this ultimate. Though 2 ultimates were expended, though, the Get and the Gilgamesh ult. But Ganesh is not going to be able to do enough and get there in time as blue team is going to start pulling this Gold Fury here. And Yu Huang half healthing this Scylla so she can't get in. Uller a little bit stepped up. Blink in from the Gilgamesh. Might even just get this kill. Scylla instead turns it around. I'm a monster coming out, but just a little bit too late and falls to the Cthulhu ultimate. Cthulhu chases down one of the Ganesha here, and Uller being the only one left here to really do any damage here.
Yeah, it looks like they're gonna be able to get this Gold Fury for free. Uller not able to do much. The Shiva is coming in, but being zoned out by the Cthulhu, and it
Yeah.
looks like it's gonna
Shiva
go off
and
without a hitch. Maybe Shiva is here. They're gonna drop it. Shiva dancing around. What a Chad. And well, it looks like they might get out. They
yeah, I
are.
mean, the problem with that one is though there's no real damage to stop you, there is Shiva. Shiva doesn't die. He's got Soul Eater and his ultimate, and he actually went and backed for an Oni Hunter's garb. Heard us talking about no magical defense and decided to go grab some. And both those items are really, really strong going into a Gold Fury fight. So very, very good play by the Shiva to keep them in line as Uller is being chased down by this Gilgamesh. The kick is going to land, get the beads. X-Ball is going to be expended, and they're going to get a kill on Cthulhu under his T2 tower. Shiva and Shibalanke having the mission of their own as the other 3 are being pushed out of the fight. Gilgamesh goes in and does get the Uller. Hachi picking up the kill. Shibalanke a little bit deep in there. Dueling Dragons does come out. Does get the kill on Shibalanki, but Shibalanki gets a double kill from that Ganesh ult, and Scylla gets a kill on Gilgamesh. A full 4-man wipe on the side of Spaced Out in favor of the Protectors here.
Yeah, but I'm not too sure they can pick up this Gold Fury. I mean, they're burning it down quite slowly. I mean, I I, I wouldn't. I don't feel right calling it a burn. It's more so of like they're kind of smoking it in a smoker. Looks like it is gonna go off without a hitch.
Close though. Geb ultimate having been
Yeah,
used super early in the last fight and almost clutched that out, but unfortunately it is just a support securing. So good job on the
yeah,
Protector side to be able to secure that even without the Scylla ult.
yeah. Definitely good. I mean, it using Crush, Celeste still has some of the best secure in the game, and well, looks like we're seeing a bit of a newer build. I've seen a lot of mids theory crafting this build. Warlocks into source into Staff of Muirden. So when you ult, um, it's gonna do a lot of damage, or the follow up is going to, depending on when it goes on cooldown. So I know for a god, let's just per se like ESET, it goes on cooldown as soon as the staff drops and the circle comes. So you're gonna get 25% extra damage on the ultimate, which is a lot of damage. I'm not too sure about Scylla ult if it'll work, but I'm assuming so because Ghost Rider ended up picking it up.
It's just a good stat stick to be honest. Plus,
It really
on
is
top
good
of
stuff.
that, the combo after with the 1-2 combo after is going to hit very, very hard as just looking here for a moment, red team looking to be a little bit aggressive. Gilgamesh behind them though might get caught out of position, but it's a tanky build. Great grab from Ganesh, but isn't really going to amount to much as the follow-up just isn't there. And Shiva just not taking any damage here.
Walking. He's
Oni
just
Hunter
walking
showing its
forward.
colors.
Yeah, but my man's is just walking forward menacingly.
Yes.
You know,
Looks like
Pyro
the blue
goes.
team was trying to go up there and contest that, but the whole time Shiva stepped up, they were doing pyros. Shiva forced into the ultimate here. Gilgamesh also going to try an ultimate try and catch a few of these picks out. And they're really chasing down this Shiva here. And
Yeah.
Scylla is going to get the kill on the back end, but Ganeshal also coming out to peel. Only one member, the Hachiman, on the
Ooh.
other side dies to the Ganeshal burn, and Yu Huang will come around on the other side and finally get that Shiva that they so greatly desired in that fight. But at what cost? Both the EDC and jungle down for spaced out just for that Shiva.
Lino? Oh, okay.
I
Lino's just kind of standing in the fire pit for a second. Just being a silly little goose.
think he was trying to clear a ward.
Maybe? But he was just standing like opposite of it. I'm not too sure. He could have been clearing a ward. That would make sense. But if we just come to the camera and it's just him standing there. It's just fun.
Standing there
I enjoyed it.
menacingly.
Oh no. Ghost Rider? Yeah. Lina, speaking about builds, Lina going a different path. Not going to be using Staff of Mirrodin. Instead going to go for Divine and a Spellbook. Likely Soul Reaver, while Ghost Rider with the Conduit Gem is going to be going for not Sorcerer Staff, is going to be going for Warlock Staff, Staff of Mirrodin, a Spellbook of some kind, and Obsidian Shard, which is just picked up. So
Gotta get that pen.
yeah, a lot of it. I mean, if you're just using a Scylla ult, that's an extra 10% pen, 30% pen on a Scylla ult just with one item. So 30% pen cruising, I believe, with Warlock Staff, and looks like Big Man Jesus.
Oh no, Uller missed the axe on a standing still target, and Scylla missed the root. Unfortunately, as great of an engagement as that was for the red team here, the Gilgamesh is going to get out just on a couple missed abilities, unfortunately. As it looks like the blue team's ready to fight back, and red team might be having it, might not be. They look a little bit on the fence, but Gilgamesh coming around. Gilgamesh having really, really crazy positioning for being behind this Uller, but it seems to be working out for him. But
it seems to be.
I mean,
Oh.
going back to it, it's probably the books are the Ob Shard. I don't think it's a bad pick. That pen definitely gonna help in
I love
fights,
it.
so.
It is a great pickup.
And
It is what you go in the build. It is a lot of pen, a lot of good stats. I mean, power, pen. It's all you need as a mid laner. Cooldown? What's that? You don't need that. Useless.
having more abilities up more often? Nah, I just need to hit
No,
harder with those
you
few
just need-
abilities.
Look. You don't need to have more abilities if you kill on the first one.
And you know what? Fair enough. Fair enough. Just got to hit it as hard as we can. As Gilgamesh with this crazy positioning again, forced to beats the Scylla route, and his rest of his team will finally be there. But that's beads expended. The Relic Dagger making that a little bit shorter of a cooldown, but that's still a major cooldown down for the next 2 minutes.
Yeah, and he doesn't have that much damage out here. I mean, his only items that would give him damage is Berserkers and not Relic Dagger and Golden Blade. So, he definitely is a tankier target. I mean, physically, he's going to be soaking up a lot as they do go for this Oni Fury.
Yeah, and Cold Fury going down. Red team red team aware of it as they're trying to force their way in. Shiva coming in, and spaced out will confirm that. But how many targets might die here? 2 targets very low. Gilgamesh barely jumping out of the Scylla Crush there, and Kev gonna get that as well as Cthulhu peels the rest of the team out. And great disengage from spaced out there. I mean, you still got Uller looking at the back end. They might get a pick. Beads out of the Huang, and great Aegis out of Tsukiyomi there to
Shell after shell.
keep the damage. And
Yeah.
someone will die. Yu Huang will die. And
Ginger
Hachiman
Archer.
forced to ultimate as well. And Cthulhu also getting caught out in the backside. Great disengage, but they didn't disengage hard enough. I feel like they were looking for the fight, but didn't turn out well for them. You don't know. That's a full roster of full health targets coming at you. No.
Yeah, especially after a Fury that does a tiny bit of damage. Locky did fall lower, and looks like I want to revisit this the ADC build topic as Ginger Archer is picking up crit. So hypothetically, Ginger Archer on paper with 1 auto will be doing more damage, but that comes into play but DPS comes into play and blah blah blah. Doing math on cast is not what I like to do, so I'm just gonna say crit probably is gonna do more immediate damage. Attack speed gonna do sustained damage. It's good.
No,
Oh,
definitely for sure. There looks to be a fight already. Gilgamesh, again, in the crazy positions here, almost getting himself caught out as the entirety of the protectors of Yggdrasil chasing him down, and no one won't get the kill. But Gilgamesh will have to leave with less than half of his health bar as they siege
yeah.
this T1 tower in mid.
I think I just give that up if I'm spaced out. They're ahead. They've been winning almost every single fight handedly. There's not a person on the map without a level lead for Protectors of Yggdrasil, so it is looking great for them as Big Man Jesus did back to get a full Spirit Robe, and it seems as if they are going to get another Katana. Um, which one would you like to see in this last slot?
If it's anything but serrated, I'm going to cry just because though he is a very tanky target, he still needs that pen as a jungler, especially with Gilgamesh's one passive being based off one damage being based off of health. But looks like they are going to get beads out of the Scylla. That Cthulhu too a little bit too scary for this Ghost Riders. Blue team's going to full engage over here. Big Man Jesus over here just looking over the blue buff, and their team's just looking to take this T1. They see the ADC over in left lane and they're starting to ping him out. They want this
Yeah.
fight.
Yeah, it is a good fight for them to take. They have the man advantage, but
Yeah.
Lina's being a bit more safe as they're sieging down this tier 1.
Yep.
Protectors can't stop them, but that does beg the question of where are they going to go next? It looks like they're looking at this fire giant. Scylla did back, so
Ooh.
maybe they saw that and
Shibalanki is here now though. So though it was a 4v5 to begin with and then went to 3v5 is now 4v5 again. Is looks like they're just looking to back off. Go do their scorpion. Go get some farm. Just chill out. They got the tower. That's what they wanted.
yeah, definitely a lot of good stuff, but protectors now poising up for this fire giant. Um, you definitely have to watch out for Loki. He is going to be dealing a lot of damage, just not only to gods, but also to really just this fire giant. I mean, it's a lot of Penkins Transcendence. It's a lot of sustained damage, while Ginger Archer just got this Deathbringer. So a little, not a little, but a very big power spike for spaced out was hit within this ADC, as we're seeing Protection Yggdrasil hit that level 20. They're gonna start getting starters. We see Hunter's Cowl picked up for Loki. And Blank Tsukiyomi ended up getting this Bumba's Hammer, so we're gonna get those cooldowns, but very, very interesting.
Yeah. And it's a strange one seeing Bumba's hammer. It recently got a nerf, a really big nerf too. To like I think its damage got nerfed, its
Yep.
cooldown got nerfed, it's basically everything you build
Everything.
Bumba's hammer for got nerfed. So it's definitely gonna be
Yeah.
interesting to see how they use it and how it plays in these team fights. Because in all honesty, I kind of want to see how it goes, but it'll be interesting as both teams looking to fight as T1 tower is going to follow the protectors here. They do have the positioning for this fire giant. If protectors are even aware that someone is backed on the side of spaced out, they could pull this FG, but it doesn't look like they are aware. They're just
Yeah.
going to let the
Doesn't seem
trebuchet push on
like
its
it,
own.
but seems like they're going to be real. All right, welcome back, everybody.
Yeah, sorry about that one. Just a little bit of Discord issues. Looks like a fight did start out Fire Giant being started by protectors here, and blue team isn't ready to just let it go for free. Gilgamesh ulting it, like still spirit, still just a little bit too strong. Ganesh catching them on the back end. Shiva dancing his way into that back line, but realizing he's all alone for just a moment, does back out the other side, and the red team's gonna disengage here. They got fire, they got their goal, but they might not be able to do it fast enough as Cthulhu ultimate is bearing down on them, and they're actually gonna get out like scot free. Like I guess those two targets were the tanks. I think it was Ganesh and Shiva. So there's no way in any universe that even with Cthulhu you were killing them. I guess so.
Yeah.
Great
They just
disengage.
Yeah, they were too fast. I believe sprint. Yeah, sprint was used by this uh by by Ganesha, and well, Prodigy Shield does have a really slippery team. I mean, Shiva, a really slippery god. You know, he's that dash, which is hard to interrupt, and Scylla, well, she can just go anywhere she wants. Is this Xbalanque, CC immunity, real slippery. Uller has his speed boost and his jump in the X form. There's just a lot of stuff, but Spaced Out does have to be careful now. They are on the back foot as Big Man Jesus still doesn't have full build, hasn't backed, so
Looks like blue team will contest this Primal Fury. Big Man Jesus is coming around, doesn't get the gold Fury, but might die for it. The ultimate
yeah.
sheep from Shibalanki coming out, that extra movement speed just barely catching up to him, forced to use Gilgamesh ult just to peel himself. And great disengage from Big Man Jesus, but even greater engage from the red team as they forced out a really strong team fight ultimate for this Phoenix Siege.
They really really did. I mean, they're going to be going down. They're going to be getting this tier 2 virtually for free. Their Xbalanque isn't here, but that doesn't matter. It's going to burn down all the same. Xbalanque just getting a bit of extra farm. Looks like Yggdrasil are going to be calling for the tower sweep, so they're going to be going over to mid lane and then over to the short lane that we also lovingly call solo lane.
Oh no, they're
As
taxing them.
oh no, no, how rude!
But
How dare
continue.
they? But yeah, no, it pretty simple stuff. Protected you show. This is what they should be doing. The Ganesha Raiden was good. Did take a bit of poke damage as Blank Tsukiyomi is under half health with no healing.
That That was a gutsy jump, but it seemed to be
Yeah.
the W key for Spaced Out for just a moment, as they're still trying to fight here outside of their T2 tower. Yu Huang using his ultimate to try and group them up a bit, but Ganeshal on the backside and try and separate out this fight a little bit, force them in a specific angle there. Great disengage. They get a kill in the back end. The Hachiman on side of Spaced Out falls to Scylla there.
Yeah, they're all gonna have to back off. Not Tsukiyomi, but the Cthulhu is low and was in the ultimate. And well, with a lot of kin size heart seekers and a bunch more pen, Protected Yggdrasil is able to burn spark fire for
Big Man
fire really
Jesus being a
easily.
little bit greedy there. His beads being the only saving grace there, as he would have died without them. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness, gravy.
yeah, you
They're
just
looking
can't
for
be doing this.
Spaced Out's looking for a hero, and Big Man Jesus is trying to be that hero, and it is not working out. Gilgamesh, not quite the 1v5 machine as he used to be.
Yeah, he's a bit rusty, and his wheels aren't as greased up as they used to be. So Big Man Jesus is definitely piloting a different type of god than he used to be, but he also, frankly, just doesn't have as much damage as Tsukiyomi as Gilgamesh usually likes. I mean, usually, you know, you're doing a bit more than he is doing with his autos. You're not as tanky. I mean, two tank, three tank items, quite a bit, and realistically, only two damage items. One of them being Golden Blade. You're not really getting much off of it, but I'm excited to see what he sells Golden Blade for, because, well, he hasn't even upgraded his. He hasn't upgraded his starter yet, so that's likely going to be Protector. Give him a bit more protections, as nothing really happens there. But Big Man Jesus, I mean, he's behind in his build realistically.
Yeah, looks like a fight's about to start out, and
Yeah.
yeah, you're a bit right. I'm just waiting for Protector for that side. Oh my goodness, blue team looking like they were going to disengage. Does in fact engage. Cthulhu is coming out. Geb and Cthulhu being the front of this Vanguard. Big Man Jesus coming around the back end looking for something. Locky right behind him though, forces him to jump away. He was getting rotated on, and they're just going to disengage as it doesn't seem their carries and the front line were exactly on the same page there. And
Yeah, I mean,
Red team wants this
there's your
now.
blink.
Blink from Shiva. Geb forced to shield himself just to get out. Yu Huang 3ing out. And that's two safeties with a decent cooldown. Ganesh still
Oh,
going in. Another case of
yeah.
the front line not being in touch with the back line. And Ganesh might fall here. And unfortunately, it looks like the Ganesh kick is going to miss. And they're going to put a
Down.
lot of focus on this Ganesh. On the back end, the support on the side of Spaced Out does indeed fall out. Locky does fall as well, but he will get one. That's 3 kills for the side of Spaced Out there, and
Yeah,
can force both teams back.
yeah, spaced out and dying 3 times. They're looking for a third here. Blink Tsukiyomi does fall, but Killa Heal is looking for something, but he's gonna get nothing realistically. So it's an equal trade, a really good one for spaced out. Stalls out the game just a tiny bit longer. You aren't gonna be pulling this fire giant with your ADC down, but 12k gold. It is a wide wide advantage for Protectors of Yggdrasil, and it's not gonna the gap isn't gonna close anytime soon, and there really isn't an ability to close any of the gap. Even if Spaced Out gets this fire giant, even if they get literally everything, I don't believe there's actually 12k gold on the map for them to even go even. So yeah, this gold deficit is going to be present, and we're seeing it quite a bit within this mid lane. I mean, it's Scylla Ghost Rider is full build while Lina upgraded their starter, doesn't even have that 6th item. So Ghost Rider does have perfected Rod of Tahuti, a glyph that we haven't seen all too much of because, well, we aren't frankly seeing all too much of Rod of Tahuti. So definitely going to be interesting for that one. But speaking of that, let's look at the glyphs, as we do have quite a bit of new glyphs. You know, Yo Hunting is a bit new. That applies stacks of wit, which, well, we'll catch up on in a few.
And it looks like an engagement in the mid lane. Shiva coming around the back end, and they almost caught Big Man Jesus out just in the middle of the jungle. His protector, not, or middle of the lane, his protector not gonna help him. As Blank Tsukiyomi is forced to jump out. Is gonna die by the Cthulhu ultimate there. Gilgamesh ultimate also separating on this fight, but not helping too much. As Spaced Out are getting a really great fight. Locky does indeed fall. Shiva forcing the ultimate, and just Scylla here. He does get the pick on to that Gilgamesh, but unfortunately, the red team is falling very, very short, and I don't think they can step up to the fire giant.
I mean, they don't have a Scylla ult, and they don't have a Ganesha ult. The only ults that they have up is, well, a stance switcher ult, and Uller End, well, he isn't even alive. But Spaced Out looks like they're gonna be going over this Oni Fury for a bit of a safer call. Maybe they're scared of the Scylla just popping up, not confident in their zoning abilities, or they had other things they needed to do, but they're gonna get another Oni Fury.
And though it is a little bit of a strange call to go for gold in my mind over fire, I do see it wise. I mean, Oni Fury, those waves are going to push up, so that should be interesting to see.
Yeah, it gives
And
them an
going,
advantage.
yeah, gives them an advantage in lane. I mean, you got to watch those lanes. But yeah, I definitely find it funny that Scylla legitimately must have heard you saying something, because straight up has no cooldown items other than Staff of Mirrodin, and then all of a sudden goes the cooldown. It's like more abilities. I need those.
Yep. It's like, oh, maybe I'm not doing as much damage as as I can. I'm not at 900 power yet, so I might need those abilities that I use once, maybe. So definitely gonna be useful, but Protectors of Yggdrasil, well, they just lost the fight, but they're positioning around Fire Giant, and they aren't scared to take another one.
I mean, they still do have a bit of an item advantage. The level advantage completely going out the window as everyone's hit 20 at this point. So it'll definitely be interesting to see. These team fights are going to go a lot more even, especially since it looks like the jungler is now full build on the side of Spaced Out. So be interested to see,
Yeah.
is blue team's starting to get a little bit more aggressive positioning here, as red team's just kind of sitting around a lane, clearing those Oni minions. And Gilgamesh is going to get an engagement on Scylla, forces the ultimate on. That's really all you need. That's a secure out the window, and gets a little bit of damage on that Cthulhu, but it's a soul laner. He kind of tanks a little bit.
Takes a little bit, but I don't know if I'd be exactly comfortable with that amount of damage on me, especially when Lucky is right there spitting out those pizzas, and a
That
fight is gonna break out.
Cthulhu goes into the ultimate, and though Loki has that kin size and that oboe, Uller does not. Uller does fall quickly to the Gilgamesh and Cthulhu combo, and that is a 4v5 that the Protectors of Yggdrasil will be going into for this fire giant. Though the Cthulhu is a little bit low, but they are starting this FG, and this is EFG, so it's either step up or you're gonna lose a lot. And
Yeah,
this
looks like they're going for this fight, but Sparkfire is gonna die. Killahilla Heal is gonna get it, and it looks like that's gonna
double kill.
pit her out after the hill. Maybe a
No,
double kill? No?
Gilgamesh is probably gonna die here. Gilgamesh does in fact die, and it's just Hachiman here. Hachiman does get the kill on Shibalanke. That's a very, very important kill. As without Shibalanke, there's not a really lot of fire giant shred. And on top of that, this is EFG. As I said before, it's really important, but it's also really tanky.
Yeah, really, really tanky. And well, that tankiness is just to match its importance. Locky just needs to be a bit more safe, as Ginger Archer did end up picking up the Death's Temper, so he's gonna have that 30% attack speed, and if you kill some things, you're gonna get a bit more power, which feels really nice. And he's gonna back to finish up that Kin's size, and gonna get Embedded Deathbringer and some wards to boot. So really this advantage of the gold is going to be almost moot, but
they're
this
they're starting it
fire
up
giant's
again.
being pulled again, and
Yeah, I mean they do have blank Tsukiyomi. They did draft two ADCs, so it's a little bit easier. But is blue team gonna step up?
Ganesho, I don't think they can.
No, they are. In
Well,
fact, they are. Ginger Archer is goes in, protects his feature, still do get the fire giant, but Shiva might just pay for it with his life. This blue team chasing him down and getting a great knockup.
Blink.
Great blink out of Shiva there. Kill a Heal really showing up on that one. That was a make or break blink, and he pulled it off perfectly.
They just stole away the EFG right under their noses. I mean, literally, they were watching this entire time, but you can't outconfirm a Scylla. Ghost Rider was there in the back with the Scylla ult, and no one was watching the back. So literally, it was just a free confirm for Ghost Rider. I mean, so much damage is just available. It's Texas Year should just now have the advantage. There's no Oni waves, there's no nothing. Towers are almost swept, and they're going to be going for this left Phoenix. They have to be careful though. EFG, although a really good buff, doesn't give them complete immunity.
Definitely interesting to see, especially since the levels haven't been caught up. The only deficit in build being in mid and support is their blue team wasn't here for that start of the siege, and they will be here now though. Dueling Dragons is going to come out. Only ultimate expended on the blue team, whereas it looks like Shiva will not be available for this dive, which kind of huge in my opinion. I mean,
Yeah,
that's free
very, very
sustain.
big. Free sustain, big man Jesus. Clearing a ward. He
Mm,
has to be careful. As Texas
yeah.
Year are going to wait for minion waves to push in.
Yeah,
Kill
looks like they're going for it. EFG shredding the protections on the Phoenix and does get the Phoenix, but the fight after is what the blue team is looking for. They go in, expend Cthulhu and Gilgamesh ult. Ganesh ult being great way to separate out this fight and force the long way around for this blue team, and they will pick up the Ganesh here. Fortunately, just a little bit too slow on the back end. Uller getting entangling roots by the blue team here. I think that was the second one I saw, as the blue team is still chasing down for these kills. I mean, EFG or not, you're 5-man strong, and this should be an easy T2 take, but it looks like they're thinking about disengaging and backing up. Gap is definitely backing up, but I think the rest are going for this Gold Fury call.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be careful. You don't really have a dedicated tank big man Jesus, a tankier jungler, but he isn't going to be taking those towers because a lot of his tankiness is going to come from protecting the jungle. And there's a Scylla. Scylla still had ult, so you had to be careful, and they made the smarter play. Not going to be taking any tier 2s right now. Everyone is full health. Protected Yggdrasil does have at least a tank with Fire Giant, so it's going to feel real nice, but
Mhm.
it looks like they're
Oh,
going
they
to
stole
take
the
his fire up.
pyro. Protectors being a little bit smart there, and they do indeed steal the pyromancer from him. And going back to that Phoenix siege, as it looks like they're going for right side siege, and we have a pause anyway. Going back to that siege, Spaced Out, I think, had a great engage. They got the Phoenix. They did get what they wanted, but the two. What do you think went right for the Spaced Out there to be able to turn back the 2 kills there. Like, what do you think went wrong for Protectors and went right for Spaced Out here? Just to kinda see how this
So
team fits.
they were just conscious with their ultimates. They were spaced out. Didn't use a lot of ultimates on the Phoenix because they knew the bird was dead anyways. If Protectors really wanted the bird dead, it was gonna be dead. But it's also the fact that Kill a Heal didn't have the Shiva ultimate. There was Blank Tsukiyomi. I mean, he's a squishy target. He's kind of a one shot and you're done type of deal. And well, Del Raider or Del Raiden is not not gonna be the safest god. He's there to peel for everyone else. So they were able to catch out Blank Tsukiyomi on the retreat, but Del Raiden, he had to make a choice. It was either let the team die or let him die, and frankly, he saw the latter more appealing. So it just honestly everything played out just correctly. They didn't have much to do, and well, they did everything right. Sparkfire had his ultimate, and that was the big thing. Big Man Jesus was able to deal damage, and he did use his ultimate at the correct time. Lina didn't have their ultimate, but that didn't really matter as
Red team, blue team. Though we were just saying they were doing things correctly, the blue team, just the carries almost walked up into 3 of the Protectors. That could have been dicey for a second, but
yeah,
definitely gonna be interesting. As it does seem like Spaced Out is a little bit more conscious of their ultimates and the ability to use them. These Ganesh ults, I will say, have been coming out really, really good. As Shiva might get caught out here, and though he is a solo laner, he is no longer ahead, and he's gonna get shredded by Ginger's build. Ginger Archer
yeah,
just that crit, that kins, that dominance, way too much damage for a Shiva to tank, even in ultimate.
yeah. I mean, it's a lot of pen. I mean, you have pen whenever you crit, you get an extra 10%. You have the health shred, but also you have dominance, which is an extra 25% pen on top of that. So when you crit, you have 45% pen. So within 2 items, well, 35% pen. Within 2 items, you're 5% pen away from the cap. And well, if Ginger Archer had killed anything before, that means he's gonna have a lot more power than he did. Death's Temper is a really strong item, and well, it's showing its work right here. But that was the only pick they were able to get. As Pictures Yggdrasil are gonna
Mm.
set up for this Fire Giant, Killer Hill is gonna be back up for it.
I'm definitely interested to see how this next Fire Giant goes. It is 44 minutes into the game, so everyone's full build. I mean, those deficits in that last Phoenix Siege are no more, and that Phoenix Siege went the way to Spaced Out, so should be very, very interesting to see how this Fire Giant fight goes. The last one went back and forth over and over again uh, for a couple fights there, so but going in this one, full build, full levels. Who do you think you're favoring now that everything's just kind of lined up? There is no lead. There is no there is no lead essentially. So
There's no lead. There's no advantage for one team. But I have to favor Spaced Out, mainly because, well, if you look at the builds, uh, Sparkfire, not all too much. It's a bit of magic defense, but Vile Blood, well, his only magic defense is coming from his dual protection items and compassion. So all the damage that is redirected to him is gonna be about.
looks like a fight's about to break out. Cthulhu getting CC'd, unable to ultimate, but Lina gonna catch Loki out with a great ultimate there, and like Tsukiyomi forced to back up. Gilgamesh ultimate keeping the Scylla into the clutches of Spaced Out, and that's 2 kills down. They might be able to push this toward this end. Ganesha not fast enough, but does get CC'd out, but unfortunately does not survive this fight. Kill a heal, the next target on the list, barely gets out with his dash, and that's way too low of targets for the side of Protectors of Yggdrasil. This might be an end call.
It definitely could be, but you have to be careful. Those minions are indeed pouring in, and well, Blank Tsukiyomi has a singular target stun, and looks like they're gonna back out, go for the safer play, and gonna go for this Fire Giant.
Yeah. They do send the Cthulhu back. Cthulhu having that TP could have TP back in, so maybe it's just a little bit more caution. They do have the solo and a DPS on the side, so tank and DPS is usually what you want for
Oof.
defenses. As Big Man Jesus almost got soloed by Shiva, but man's a little bit tankier than you think there, Kill Heal, so he is gonna get out this life and Ginger Archer and Sparkfire kind of over here looking for the Fire Giant, but it is EFG, so it takes a bit longer, and the red team will get there in time. So is just too.
Protectors almost just lost out of their chance. They needed to pull it as soon as possible, and Osilla's coming up, Locky is up, and Del
Oh,
Raiden,
they're looking to
he's
engage on
almost up.
this. I mean, a little bit of a strange like amount of time for the spaced out to wait. Does seem to be favoring them a bit, but they are going into this 4v5 as Del Raiden will be the last one in this fight, but he will be the fifth member. Cthulhu forced into his ultimate as he took a lot of damage from the red team, and that's gonna be huge going into the fight for the actual Fire Giant. I mean, you don't have Cthulhu.
Sparkfire has to back. He's a quarter HP, and in that normal form, that's a 1,000, maybe 1.5. The as Protected
Yeah,
Yggdrasil are going to be looking for this fight. A lot of damage coming out. Dueling
red
Dragons
team.
does come, but Spark does die, and it's going to lead to Protected Yggdrasil going for this Fire Giant.
I mean, unfortunately, Cthulhu, he's a big, chunky target, but when he's not in his ultimate, he is still a giant hitbox. Just blink in from this Gilgamesh trying to get this Uller killed, and he does indeed kill the Uller. Kill heal also falls. Gilgamesh a little bit off the mark, but that is now a swing and fight favor for Spaced Out instead, and they're just gonna pull the Fire Giant.
Stilla's here
Strange
with
call.
ultimate.
Stilla is gonna misses out on the ultimate. The ultimate just a little bit too
Unfortunate.
soon, so Spaced Out gonna confirm that ultimate. And Gilgamesh looking for this Shiba Lanki and does get him. Might even gets a double kill. That no, if this is an end call, I don't know what is an end call. There is no Fire Giant anymore. So like unless Del Raiden could pull a crazy play without ultimate to defend this Titan, I believe this might go the way of Spaced Out here.
It almost has to. I mean, 35 seconds, and they're burnt. And this bird burns quickly. It might be a phoenix, but
Yeah, I mean,
Ginger Archer's arrows comes first, and well, gonna be pushing them out. That's gonna be it.
Yeah, I
It
mean, this is
has
gonna be a
to be.
game for Spaced Out. They have the damage from Gilgamesh. They have the damage from this Yu Huang, this Hachiman. There's nothing that this there's nothing that this Ganesh can really do. Plus fire, and they do end up killing the Ganesh by the end of it. Great patience out of the Spaced Out squad. The Protectors had a really great early lead, but unfortunately, I think the team comp in the end game, when everything was said and done, just catches up to them there in the end, and they lose. Spaced Out win just out of purely being patient, keeping the Protectors in the game a little bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, they played that long game. They didn't have a choice. It was either play that long game or you're gonna lose the game. They waited for Ginger Archer to come online. They waited for They waited for Lion to come online. They waited for Fire to come online. I mean, there's so much they waited for, and they waited just the right amount of time. They knew when to pick their fights, and Big Man G's with a bit more of an unorthodox build ended up pulling it off. It worked really well, having 35k player damage. Yeah, might not be the most, but he does have some good stats to put up for 11-5-11. It was a really good draft. I mean, this Cthulhu did so much, 45,000 player damage, 3k behind the Yu Huang, I'd like to mention, but Forlock's staff was built on him. It's a lot. A lot of things just went right for Spaced Out, as it seems that, Protected Yggdrasil, they didn't have that late game comp. They had a Scylla, they had an Xbalanque, they had a Ganesha, but they had two gods that really die off late game. I mean, Uller, if he can't get the combo off, he's essentially useless. And Shiva, well, he's always been an early game god, and well, that's not where we are. But we're gonna end it off. We're gonna throw it right to a quick break, as we'll see you guys for game 2.
Hit a spliff, now I'm drowning, suffocating in that pussy, you're no cat. Ain't no time to be frowning, cause if you be looking up, no way I'm ever gonna snap, yeah. Power to the people while I'm never looking back. Fuck that shit, past is present, the future is right here, yeah. Move back, slick guy, coming through the instant you have it all. People start looking, come back later, try again, cause you ain't getting in my life, no way. Got the world in my hands and I ain't gonna fuck it up. Keep them safe is the key to success here, see ya, yeah. Power to the people while I'm never looking back. Fuck that shit, past is present, the future is right there. I might be going on a tangent here, but stay with me. We in the highland, living the life we never thought we'd have, yeah. Fuck what I'm feeling, but there still do be a missing piece. Wonder what it is, keeps me up at night, what a nightmare. Yeah, my sleep paralysis, demon sitting there, waiting for me. Don't wanna deal with his crap, so I'm out of here. Throw it in reverse, speakers blowing loud. Keep me away from my bed, cause I ain't turning in now. Power to the people while I'm never looking back. Fuck that shit, past is past and the future is right there. I'll see you in the future, cause you already know. I'll be waiting for you till time ends in slow mo.
You can see straight through my life. Oh, there's something in my chest that I can't hide. When feelings get involved, I'm terrified. 'Cause I've been here before and said goodbye. Oh, are you the one when I try to look, I wish I'd find? Oh, how can I love when I've been hurt 100 times? For you, I give it one more try. Turn away and wrestle with my doubts. Oh, I leave them all behind, but don't know how. Bury my head deep within the crowd, but I'm reaching for your hand to pull me out. Oh, are you the one when I try to look, I wish I'd find? Oh, how can I love when I've been hurt 100 times?
All right, welcome back, everyone, to Game 2 between the Spaced Out and Protectors of Yggdrasil. That Game 1 was a barn burner for sure. It went the distance, took a while, but in the end, Spaced Out, being patient with the comp and having a great comp for it, came out on top. So definitely looking forward going into these picks and bans to see what changes. Protectors already banning out that Yu Huang, but uh, looking into this P's and B's. What do you think the Protectors should probably look at going in this one? I think Spaced Out got a great draft. They played it very well, but what do you think the Protectors should change up or maybe look to play for in this picks and bans?
So, number one, I just don't draft Thule in the jungle again. Um, no. Nemesis isn't banned, so if they end up running back this Cthulhu, pick that up. Nemesis is a really good god right now too, so that helps a lot. But there's also just a lot of things that I'd really prefer them to go over, but if Freya is locked in, um, looks like they'd much rather fight against a Freya than a Yu Huang, which, after Linus' performance, I don't blame them.
Just interesting because Freya, with the buffs that she got recently, is going to be a little bit of a menace even in the early game, but on the backside, Ravana Geb, those whoops aren't going to be as effective, and then you've got a basically immortal solo laner if he does go in the solo laner running you down. So Protects the Yggdrasil definitely, I think definitely in my mind winning out that trade back, but we'll see. We'll see what the rest of the draft looks like.
Yeah, Ravana is a really really strong god, but Yamosha being hovered along with this Bologna, uh, well they're gonna lock in this Yamosha. It's kind of crazy, Yamosha's a really good support as long with this Bologna, so they're gonna have some early pressure in the solo lane, and their dual lane, well, it's gonna scale real hard. And Yamosha, she's kind of just good all the time. Yamosha is an insane god with her Omi. She's able to dish out so much, and in her ultimate, she gets extra Omi regeneration. So, President Yggdrasil definitely has to be careful about what they pick, but they don't have to worry about this Cthulhu.
I mean, definitely. I mean, if they pick a Cthulhu anywhere but Bologna, with the Bologna on the board, it'll be a little bit interesting. Bologna can still go jungle. It is an option. They could just go in the second phase, but less than likely is Kali. Ooh, Kali, Ravana on the Protectors of Yggdrasil. They're definitely going for higher pressure. The Gab maybe being an exception, but that CC late game still going to be deadly.
High
Very,
pressure, late game scaling.
trying to
That's what I
match
see
that
here.
Freya.
They're trying to match that Freya, and well, Kali's one of the few guys that can do it well. They ban out this Nemesis, as we mentioned. Nemesis is a really good god, as Spaced Out respond with an Ex Blanque and a Scylla, putting respect on the Scylla, which is just nice to see. Not wanting to get those everything secured as a Jingwei locked in. It's going to be a bit more of an interesting pick. What do you think the merits of this Jingwei is?
Well, one, I see a Freya Yamosha on the other side, and we first picked Geb. So I already think pressure is out the window. So I think Jingwei is probably going to be is going to have that safety, a lot more safety than both Shibalanke and Hachiman. So, but that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And on top of that, she also scales incredibly well. That second ability, having 110% of her basic attack damage and an AoE that crits. So definitely be interesting. As looks like I might have been on the nose with that Bologna jungles. They lock in Jing Chen AMC. How do you think about how are you feeling about this comp? It's definitely interesting, but how are you feeling about it?
I don't know if I like this AMC pickup. He has a lot of protection to shred, but he's only really shredding for himself on the Bologna. While the Xingtian is really, really good, a lot of gods without CC immunity. I mean, Kali is one, and Merlin is one, but Geb's going to be able to shield one of them. So you're only realistically only getting one set of beads every time you use your ultimate, but that opens up, Bologna to get some beads. That's really it. So Spaced Out doesn't have that great beads burning comp for the Xingtian, but they can have a lot of single damage burst with this Freya and this AMC, while Yggdrasil, they're controlling a big area in these team fights. Kali, yeah, she's going to be absolutely murdering everything in her path late game. And Merlin, Well, it's a Merlin. He controls a whole entire jungle corridor.
Yeah, and it'll be very, very interesting. Looks like the drafts in my mind kind of flipped around though. The team fight one still is on the side of Space On. Looking at these drafts, I know we just talked about it. I feel like I know which side you're favoring. I think I'm favoring the same side. Unless Spaced Out pulls out the same performance, we're having that patience when they get behind, just being able to do really well. But I think I'm favoring Protectors this time just because they scale. I think even better than Spaced Out scale. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, AM spaced out scales really well with this Freya, but Xing Tian not having a beads burners around him feels a bit rough, and Bellona falls off early game, and at least in solo and in the jungle might be a bit more. And AMC does scale really well. The Stinger hurts a lot. Everything hurts a lot. It's kind of what happens, but also he doesn't have an escape, and against a Kali, you kind of need one of those.
Yeah, it's gonna be very, very interesting to see these matchups. And once we get in the game, I'm thinking, right here's my image of team fights. Right, we've got probably Geb and Gage. I don't think Kali's ever gonna just go in there and be the first one in there. You lose your health bar and then you're forced to ultimate. Rav could be the first one in there, but and then on the other side, it's Jing Chen throwing them back into what Yamoja if he doesn't get everyone's beads.
Yeah, if he does catch someone, he throws them into AMZ Stinger and they just die. But that's about it. If AMC if lineup misses a stinger or uses it earlier in a fight and is unable to pick it up, it's not gonna go as we go into the game. It's definitely gonna be interesting. So
Be interesting. And
yeah, it's
uh, as it's gonna, I'm just looking forward to see what happens in this dual lane. Right, like you have Freya, like yeah, Freya and Umoja, right? And even though the red team does scale a bit better, I think that the hyper carry pressure goes to a Freya. Because once Kali goes on you, the probably you can force her ultimate, and then you go up in your ult and wait out her ultimate. It'll be interesting to see. As looks like that they're just clearing out stuff there. Um,
yeah. Yeah, it looks like very traditional starts. Nothing too spicy. Ghost Rider looking like they favor this conduit gem over Sands of Time, while it seems Ginger Archer is gonna get a bit of early damage, but also they're favoring the Sands of Time in this with in this ADC lane, getting those stims on off cooldown a bit longer. Um, Nothing too out of the ordinary. I mean, Killa heal started with his Ravana. I mean, Sigil and going into most likely Solar Eater. Not too odd.
if he goes anything but Soul Eater, I'll be like, oh, what's that tech? But definitely definitely interesting to see not a conduit gem on Freya. Seems to be have been the premier item on her, so definitely interesting to see how they use this Sands of Time. I mean, scales better. There's that at least.
Yeah, it does scale better, but there's also the fact of Gem of Focus. It's it, or even Archmage's gem. Both work really well on Freya. You get that nice little burst originally, but I'm not too sure.
Hmm.
It's gonna be interesting. This Freya, maybe Ginger Archer just sees something that just is there. I mean, Sands of Time is a really
Oh,
good item right now, but the fight is gonna
Jing,
break out a nice stun.
that was a great force of the Jingwei's beads. A little bit on the risky side. If the red team protectors had seen fit, I would have turned around on that Freya and been like, your Emoja's not in front of you. But it does get the beads for it, so it does get rewarded for that extra. It was very, very aggressive play. So um, yeah, that'd be very, very interesting going into this rest of this game, looking at how these builds come out, especially since I mean it seems like Big Man Jesus favors these tankier warriors as well, going to the jungle build. Um, yeah, just very, very interesting.
Very, very interesting. He does another warrior definitely does make sense for him as we've seen. But this solo lane is almost just gonna be a handshake. Ravana is gonna get the Slater, gain the early pressure. Sparkfire, Fyra is gonna kind of deal with it as it seems Lina's just kind of chilling. I mean, Ghost Rider able to catch up, almost out clear this AMC is. Ghost Rider, just kind of chilling in his void stance, destroying these stingers. Big man Jesus taking a wave, being a traditional jungler, but nothing too out of the ordinary here.
Yeah, and nothing too crazy. It is a little bit crazy to see an AMC free farming, but again, it's Kali, so not the craziest thing. Looks
Yeah,
like
Ginger Archer's low.
yeah, it looked
Not
like
low
they were trying
enough.
to engage there, but that whoop was enough.
Yeah, a stun into a whoop. Kind of able to create that distance real good. Uh, just spaced out. But they're playing for this early game. This is gonna be an early game. This is gonna be not early game. They're playing for this late game. This is gonna be a very late game. The only person who's really able to get active on the side of space out early is Big Man Jesus and maybe this AMC, depending on your definition of early. Um, but he needs that Transcendence fully stacked before he can really do anything. He's Lina just kind of chilling, a
Oh,
bit of an
Bologna ulti
engage.
behind the T1 tower, looking for that Kali. Does get the ultimate, but I wasn't expecting that kind of aggression. Big man Jesus. You know what? I shouldn't be surprised. Big man Jesus was doing this all last game, just blinking in, trying to kick people in the wall. So not too surprising to see Big man Jesus just run at them. It's still fun to see at least. I mean, makes for a very exciting lane as Jing Chen went for the solo invade. I can't tell if he got it off or not, but yeah, I mean,
Think so, because Killa
Kill
Heal
Hero has a
does
blue
have
buff.
his blue buff. So
I mean, still a great call from the Jing Chen. I mean, you just saw Bologna ult the Kali. Kali has no ultimate. Definitely a good call. Sucks that it didn't go well with for him.
yeah, both Golden Blades picked up on both sides. Um, given Golden Blade still has that 5% movement speed, as looks like Blank Tsukiyomi is gonna find his back stolen. Gonna look for some farm elsewhere. Not too much of a level disparity right now, as Killa Heal is a level ahead, but that's about it. Well, this mid lane does
Mhm.
have a bit of a level disparity too, Lina. From what it seems like, is a level ahead, but
Yeah.
nothing else. When do you think? Well, a
Oh,
bit of a fight to pick
Tsukiyomi.
now.
Tsukiyomi gets ult and doesn't have the ultimate in kind. Bologna just a little bit of a shorter cooldown. Looks like they were going for a blue buff invade, but doesn't look like they're done with it. Kill a heal in its most vulnerable state as Ravana getting just ran at here. Four members of the blue team here to try and take him out, but
Yeah, they really
doesn't
want to
amount to
shut
much.
down this Rohana, but
I
don't think they're
mean,
going to be able to.
it'll be interesting to
It
see,
will.
but
A lot of
um,
interesting things going on in this game. Texas Yggdrasil, now spaced out, does have that level advantage in the jungle. It looks like it was only about a half a level separating the mid laners, so not too worrying there. But Texas Yggdrasil definitely gonna have to be careful. Kali from behind doesn't feel the best, so it looks like it doesn't look like. I know that Ghost Rider and Killer Heal are gonna have to defend these backs. They're gonna have to be careful. They're gonna have to not have Blink Sukumi be caught out constantly.
yeah, I mean, and the other thing is, Kali isn't not an early game god, whereas you're into Bologna, who is 100% an early game god. So, I believe in that last fight they were caught out at the blue team's blue buff.
Hmm.
So, though I like the aggression, Spaced Out is known to be patient. So, if you give them the lead, I feel like protectors will be a little bit more hurting going into this. Looks like Bologna just spotted out Kali again. Kali does have ultimate this time, but Big Man Jesus could just stifle a lot of the farm here and doesn't manage to steal any of the XP there, but does
Yeah.
scare off the Kali.
Yeah, I mean, does that very well. Locky is low, but it's gonna dash out of
Ooh,
there and
AMC
a good
rotation, but
rotation.
Doesn't amount to much. I mean,
Yeah, the honey didn't.
Jingwei was already scared of Freya, so
Yeah. Ooh, Mike.
oh, Geb doesn't look like they're
Drayden
gonna get
Low
Gab. No,
does have
no,
ultimate.
great whoop, but doesn't look like they're gonna get anything. Yamoja ult does catch the Geb there. Freya didn't seem to be aware of it for just a second. He does get out with his life, but that was a great Yamoja ult there. Looks like they're still going for the fight. Merlin has rotated over to the left side of the map and
Ooh,
they forced the Jingwei into ult with the Freya Stinger. Freya Stinger? Freya ult does come out, but
yeah.
we will see Jingwei get out. On
Yeah.
the other side, Blank Tsukiyomi might just fall. There's the ultimate. Does force the ultimate out of Kali. Great patience on that ultimate, just being able to know. But fortunately, Bologna's just going to hit that much harder when you come out of it.
Yeah. That I wasn't ready for Bludgeon to do that much more damage. Blank Tsukiyomi. Now 2 deaths. It's Big Man Jesus has his team's only 2 kills, and practice as usual. Well, they're sitting with a big fat goose egg right in that column. It's definitely gonna be. It's definitely gonna be a long one for practice. If they want to get back into this, they have to play very carefully. What's nice about the situation in the jungle is, well, it hasn't grown. It's just a level, and it was just a level before. Big Man Jesus looking for this toxic blade, so that's gonna be interesting to see. He recognizes there's just a tad bit of healing
Just,
on the
just
side of Practice Show.
Just a little bit. There's totally
Yeah.
just not a Ravana sitting in the soul lane who part of his immortality is soul leader in his 3. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
definitely liking the aggression out of this Bologna trying to shut down this Kali. But I feel like, and I could be wrong on this one, I feel like the Bologna getting all these kills isn't going to help them as much as getting them on like AMC or Freya or even Jing Chen in some way, just because of how early game Bologna is, how much he falls off late, but I could be wrong. But so how do you think going in the mid game, this Collie's behind a little bit? Freya, not Freya, Bologna is seeming to very much be on Blank Tsukiyomi's number every step of the way. So going in this mid game, these objectives, how which team are you like? How are you seeing these fights turn out with Blank Tsukiyomi and this Bologna?
Well, if the Soul Laners are here, let me tell you, it's gonna end up being Xing Tian going in and deciding, well, I'm just gonna hurt
Ooh,
you, but a fight is bringing out in the duo lane. Locky does have the
force
advantage, but Valkyrie's discretion does come out. Ginger Archer does get that damage, but not enough. Only having that nimble Bancroft's talon, which bit of an interesting pickup. Spending a extra 600 gold there as Pyromancer is being pulled. Blank Tsukiyomi is
Ooh.
there with ultimate.
But it is Blank Tsukiyomi, and Big Man Jesus has had his number all game. Is gonna run at him. I don't think his ultimate is back up. It is back up. A little bit of the timing, a little bit different from what Big Man Jesus is aware of. But the bludgeon, once again, patiently waiting out that ultimate. Blue team does get the Pyromancer, and Ravana forced ultimate away from the Jing channel. And I think that's a really heads up play from Big Man Jesus. It looks like red team's not done yet. Merlin hiding around the corner. He has been pinged out. Isn't able to get in this fight as cleanly. Big Man Jesus is just making Geb's life an absolute nightmare as he's trying to leave the lane. But yeah, I mean, again, Kali gets caught out and killed by a hammer to the head.
Yeah, it's been a running theme, and looks like it's going to continue to be a running theme because, well, Blank Tsukiyomi really isn't going to get much more defense. It's just kind of what happens. Big Man Jesus is that early game bully, and Blank Tsukiyomi doesn't have really that, what makes, you know, the chainsaw run. Blank Tsukiyomi has the blades, literally and figuratively, has the blades on the chainsaw, but the chainsaw doesn't have any gas currently.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I think once we see either a Hasten Katana or if they don't opt for that, a Kins to be able to just shred these tanky targets, especially the Bologna. I don't think you're ever beating Bologna there, but Beats forced out with the Geb ultimate there. Freya is going to fall low here, might even die. Valkyrie's
Discretion.
discretion does come out wisely, and Jingwei also forced to use his ultimate. And Bologna looking for this kill, a little bit off the mark, misses both the disarm and the Eagles rally. And unfortunately, for missing both of those, you missed the kill.
Yeah, and really that kill could have been followed up. Big man Jesus wasn't too far away, has a bit of extra speed, an extra 12% speed, but it's not enough, especially when you get knocked away from a
Ooh,
giant
yeah,
rock thing, but a good
get
ultimate
there.
could come out.
Great whoop.
Unfortunate. Ginger Archer
Be-
is gonna survive just barely.
Beautiful play from that Freya. I mean, didn't have ultimate, didn't have beads. It was a great engage on the side of protectors of Yggdrasil, but unfortunately, Freya still has that safety of whoop, and if she hits it on the key targets like that Kali, then I think even in the late game, that's going to be a really, really difficult target to engage. Even I think even more difficult than probably Hachiman.
Yeah, I mean, you have to wait out the loop. If I'm protecting the Yggdrasil, I am not having. I am telling Blank Tsukiyomi, late game, you are not going to be going on Freya because that is going to waste your ultimate timer and is gonna it's gonna draw it out. Let Kill a Heal take care of it. Kill a Heal is gonna have that mitigation. He's gonna have that defense. He's gonna have that damage. I believe in him. Ginger Archer, only looking for a bit of a traditional build, and Kill Hill, he's gonna be able to take care of it. The mitigations go very large, but that means Blink Sugimi has to be on this Amuzing cab, and Lina, well, they've been playing it pretty well, getting some anti-heal in the second slot. Count it, 3 out of the 5 people got anti-heal in their second slot as Vile Blood ended up opting for a Chronos Pendant.
I mean, that's
Oh, no
I feel like
thoughts?
that's just insane. I mean, I don't know what healing you're seeing on the other side, but it's definitely scary. I know Ravana, obviously, but I feel like they're just trying to shut down this Kali in team fights. That's the only thing I can think of is Kali is just not going to heal. That's the objective. No healing for you, Kali. You want to reset? Nah, same health bar. We're killing you in these fights. So definitely interesting to see the anti heal come out. Whereas on the other side, there's the Emoja, and I don't see any anti heal.
Yeah, yeah, definitely gonna be needing some and Kill a Heal, looking for that Oni Hunter's Garb. There's a spot for some anti-heal in the build, but not a really large one. Blank Sugumi can pick up this Toxic Blade, so not too scary. Ghost
Yeah, but
Riders,
Bologna. Oh, she missed the ultimate.
yeah, it's gonna give Blank Tsukiyomi a free ride out of there.
Yeah, I mean that's two Eagles rallies in a row that have had dropped kills, but I don't think Del Raiden's gonna be as lucky. 4 members of them, but great Gebel. Don't think it's gonna be enough. He does indeed fall eventually. The AMC being able to finish off as Ravana, the Soul Laner's finally here. Jing Chen coming in from behind with the ultimate. Doesn't get anyone but Locky. Does get some of that HP, that damage from that Jing Chen. Really doing great. But even better emotional. No one on the side of Spaced Out falling. But that's 3. Now looking at 4 dead on the side of Protectors of Yggdrasil.
Yeah, Kill a Heal almost died there. But luckily just got those protections and all that up just in time, and Protections of Yggdrasil still sitting with nothing, and well, that Gold Fury's gonna go off scotch-free. Your Ghost Rider not feeling spicy, not gonna want to step up there, and Spaced Out, they're gonna go ahead and they're gonna get this Gold Fury. This is a much different look from last game. Instead of falling behind in the early, unable to catch up, well, they're commanding the early. They're 4K gold up and 6 kills up. It's been an insane ride, and well, the gap's only gonna get bigger. We're approaching on 20 minutes. We're approaching on the time when you can go ahead and you can start pulling this Fire Giant. You can start pulling the bigger objectives. I mean, we just saw the first Gold Fury fall, and well, that's gonna be a mainstay for Spaced Out. As Protectors of Yggdrasil, they have to look for something. The junglers, both level 14 as of now, and there's not much. There's not much of a saving grace per se. I mean, Loki is behind a level. Ghost Rider is behind a level. This Kali is not exactly where you want her to be. She doesn't have Kins up. She doesn't have Hastened up. She really just only has Golden Blade and Stone Cutting. And well, Kill a Heal, his build, it's gonna come on late game. Definitely not an early game build.
Yeah, it'll definitely be Interesting to see. And it'll also be interesting because last game we saw Protectors running the early game. The game went to a whopping 40-minute plus game, and it was great plays by Spaced Out. But going on this game, Spaced Out has the lead. It's an exact opposite to what the last game was, and I'm interested to see what happens. And going in these fights, how do you think Protectors should respond in these fights? Because it's clearly not with Kali right now. She does have her kins, but no.
I mean, you have to respond with this Merlin. This Merlin has to be on point. Ghost Rider's doing a lot of damage, and that just has to continue. He has to be taking up the space. He has to be controlling it. That's what he needs to do. They need to wait for Loki to catch up. They need to wait for Blink Tsukuyomi to catch up. They
Yeah,
can't
just hold 'em.
fight right now like they are doing.
Yeah, I mean, like I thought that fight was gonna go with that fight. If Spaced Out, I feel like Spaced Out was just a little bit out of it. Um, Sparkfire does get picked out. It's very, very unfortunate. Like their entirety team. As you were speaking of it, uh, Blank Tsukuyomi dies again. Kali ult just not being enough to save you. But Merlin is having to pop off, and he clearly is in these fights. And oh my gosh, they're gonna kill Ginger Archer. Spaced Out, really, really over aggressing, not really positioning right for these fights. And I don't know what changed between last game and this game, but their patience is clearly not staying. Stinger does come out and kill a heal, might get the tower kill for him. Overhead kick just being too strong though. Oh
I
goodness, great fight from Protectors.
Yeah, great fight from Protectors. I mean, you could say that Spaced Out is, well, just spacing out. Come on, it was a good pun. I bet chat's laughing at it. Chat's laughing at it.
Oh,
I don't.
I bet. It was interesting. Oh my goodness, Bologna. Let them breathe. Let
No,
them
the Ghost Rider
breathe.
is not escaping this. Oh wait,
Yeah, no,
Aegis,
that's
maybe.
Beats and Aegis and Bludgeon. Like, yeah, no, Big Man Jesus. Big Man
Well,
Jesus is running a clinic here. Blink comes out of Rav. Slow
oh,
comes out. He does die eventually, his first death of the game, but you just watched Merlin get run down from one T1 to the bottom of his own T1. So
he just kind of didn't
Bologna's
have
a
a
menace.
choice. He just didn't have. I mean, Frostbound, but it kind of does slow you, I guess. So it's pretty
It
good.
slows you.
It does that, you know. It slows you. And he has a bit of damage.
Yeah, just a little bit, not to mention, a little bit of
Yeah,
movement speed, that
just a
Toxic
tiny
Blade,
bit.
the Golden Blade, totally not a Bologna passive thing procking as well.
Nope, nope, none of that. No,
None of
definitely
it.
not. But speaking of speed, Blink Tsukuyomi picked up an attack speed item and charged bow, the tier 2 of Odysseus bow. Uh, gone are the days of old where you just pick up charged bow and call it a day. It's gonna be upgraded into the Odysseus bow, and Ginger Archer is gonna get the solo on Loki.
Oh
Uh,
my goodness, Lucky, you
unfortunate.
can't. You are playing the safest god in the game, Lucky. Why are you dying to pray? Great play from Ginger Archer. We didn't get to see it quite right because it's over in this left side, and usually people don't solo each other over there. But great play from Ginger Archer.
You know, I
Um,
bet it went down like Ginger Archer used a stim and then maybe another stim and Loki died.
yeah,
That's probably how it went down.
probably what happened. Didn't even use ultimate. Lucky died with ultimate, by the way.
It could have been Loki was channeling it, because it doesn't
Could've.
go on cooldown until it finishes.
Yeah,
Just
but
like until it is used. Like
yeah.
you go ahead,
Mhm. Fair enough, but
Loki I don't know. Oh,
ooh,
maybe
great
someone's
Geb
coming.
Blink ult. Spaced Out does confirm it, but that solo kill opened up the room for a Gold Fury, and it looks like Kali going on this AMC all alone. Ravana not there with him and does indeed fall. The Stinger just doing way too much damage for him. As Freya now scaled up, taking that Merlin out of the fight, that key component of damage that for Texas of Yggdrasil. And Grey Whoop gets a beat and Aegis out of Jing Wei. Ravana, the only frontline really frontlining right now. Geb going in a little bit, but unfortunately, no one's tanky enough to tank this Spaced Out squad. And they took the T1 before, so now they're looking at the T2, and unfortunately, not enough damage
They
there.
can't get it.
Ooh, I felt that in my bones. Howard took so long to fire that last shot, and in fact, missed out on getting a kill on Bologna because of it.
Unfortunate. Yeah, real unfortunate. But you know, Locky still doesn't have that wind demon, so not gonna be dealing as much damage as they can be. You know, farming up beats and Aegis on a synchronized cooldown, which is looks fun. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Just saying, you know, it's just fun things. But Lina
definitely.
does have that crusher. No Jotuns for them. But they're gonna be going to this Titan's Bane and Ginger Archer gonna be going into this town. Gonna be going into Typhon's Fang. And does have that Pendulum of Ages. So it's gonna work
He's
out well
already
for
like
them.
that's a Freya already level 20 at like just after 20 minutes. This
Kind of scary, I guess.
just a little bit scary. Totally doesn't max tanks for like all their HP as Blank Tsukiyomi once again getting caught out by Big Man Jesus. Like this Kali unable to play the game. They even forced a raw volt, man. Protectors are not sitting comfy here at
Yeah,
all.
they
Like
really are, and but well, they didn't force out Blank Tsukiyomi's ult. And that's the one that maybe matters. Locky is not gonna get that Wind Demon. Instead, they're gonna get the Shadow Steel Shuriken
fight
as
starting
a bit
back
of a
up.
fight.
Sparkfire a little bit far up. He is 3 levels behind his counterpart, so maybe not as tanky. Gab does ultimate, but unfortunately was way too low. Big Man Jesus taking the Pokemon from Merlin. But the other side of the fight, Locky forced the ult away from the ulting Freya. As she is indeed a scary ADC right now. Kali does go in onto this Bologna here. AMC does get the pickup.
Oh,
They do finally kill Big Man Jesus, and Kali is still alive, by the way. And they're going back into the fight, 3v4. But unfortunately, Protector's health bars are running a little bit low. Freya's still on the field. They still have Emoja, and they're gonna opt to go in. They steal the Pyromancer, and they get 2 kills on the back end. Great heads up play from Yggdrasil. They might look for more though. AMC looking a little bit spicy here. Jing Chen trying to play them out, blink out of there. Good repeats, but unfortunately didn't need the beads there. Xing Chen almost dies for it. Oh my goodness, Gravy Protectors, though they were hurting early, they're hurting even more to the other team now. More now it's 25 minutes.
maybe it was like some voodoo, like some delayed voodoo.
Maybe
Maybe, yeah.
I just think it's spaced
Fire Giant's
out,
being
not
good.
respecting this
The
Kali now that
damage?
she's late game. Kali,
Yeah, not.
Ravana, late game. Ravana's level 22, boys. He's a scary solo laner. Looks like Stinger did come out of there, and they're gonna die to Fire Giant. No, Ghost Rider, the man that was helping them so much here.
Fire Giant has a better KDA than Delraiden. Just saying. Just saying. No shade.
Just,
You know, I understand.
just a little bit.
But
Want to know? Want
you
to
know,
know?
wanna know?
Oh,
Wanna know?
Locky a little bit too far out. Does beats that, and looks like Geb will be there. Bologna ult does come out, but there's a blank Tsukiyomi behind you, and you might get your AMC. He's not got ult. He does have ultimate. Does pop the ultimate. Does get the kill onto this AMC, and they look like they're looking for more. Stun does come out of Emoja, so a little bit safe for now, but the red team's still running at the blue team. They are not ready for this as Geb's going in. Kali jumps back in. Kali just straight jumps back in. No Rav, no anyone, just runs in. But looks like he favored the red team anyway. Got enough damage
Triple.
off with that Odysseus bow. Yeah, triple kill for this Jing Wei, and that's
That
an ace.
might be fire. That's a deicide, and that's gonna be fire. Locky, as long as he does not get knocked up or sits in these pools for too long, that's gonna be a free Fire Giant. I mean, that's absolutely insane. Never mind. They're gonna
Never
call it
mind.
off.
They're gonna just opt out. I mean, that crazy damage from
Killa?
the meteors is insane. But I
Killa?
mean, it's rough. It's rough. He's got Merlin coming up. Merlin also sheds. I mean, they can take as long as they want. I mean, Spaced Out was dead for how long? So
I mean, Lina isn't here yet.
Yeah.
Good Geb shield, and maybe they're gonna hold it for 5 seconds. No,
no, they're not holding it for 5 seconds. Lina is up. The entirety of Spaced Out is up. So if they held it for too long, I swear, if Lina came in and pulled like the craziest of steel with his bees, which I know is possible, I've done it before. You just walked over the wall, threw some bees over the edge just to steal at the last second. I feel like I'd be heartbroken if I was the Protectors.
Yeah, I would be too. So they made the saver, and possibly smarter play, but I really wanted to see the prospect of Blank Tsukiyomi with just with Fire Giant. It would have looked nice.
Yeah.
Hasten Katana is purchased, so they're gonna have this chase down. Uh, Blink Tsukiyomi, who was once behind, actually had a level lead for a short time.
Yeah, I mean, that last fight,
I
Blink
agree.
Tsukuyomi, that Odysseus bow was insane. That popped off. That
That
gave
went
them the
hard.
damage. That gave them the damage for Jingwei to get a triple in the back end. Kill heal a little bit stepped up, though. The protectors are looking for this Gold Fury, opting to just get the safer farm here. And blue team pinging out the Kali and the Ravana, both just walking in their faces. As it looks
They
like
can
the
do
red team
nothing.
is going to
Raiden is
engage.
low.
Geb is getting absolutely destroyed by this Freya damage. Is not going to survive much longer. That Geb shield not enough, but Blank Tsukiyomi is going to get the AMC on the back end. That is T2. Got him in his T2. Did expend ultimate for it
Rough.
though, so going to be a little bit interesting going in this fight. Big Man Jesus blinks over the wall, thinking he saw Big Man Blank Tsukiyomi there, but just a little bit late. Both teams kind of sitting there. Big Man Jesus looking to front line here, but that's kill a heal. Not that's not a carry. He's not gonna die, and the guy behind him is going to kill you. Ginger Archer does get stunned, killed by the Kali,
That-
and
That's
Ravana.
huge.
Ravana's just going ham, taking this tower. Doesn't matter. He's late game Ravana. Who's gonna deal damage to him? Not the
That's a
tower.
Phoenix. That's a Phoenix, literally for free.
I mean, if it's not Phoenix, it could even be End. I mean, we're looking at timers. The next person up is in 15 seconds. That's Lina. Spark Fire is that. This is an end call. Like pre 30
They're
minutes.
going for
Protectors.
it.
Like they've got Merlin, they've got Kali, they've got Jingwei. That is the fastest
They got the
objective shred you
shred.
can have. So if
And
I
minions
feel
are
like
on
they
the
can do
Titan.
it.
This
Yeah,
could be it. They're going for it.
Lina-
This might be huge. Lina does not fall. Blake Sumi falls to the order. Phoenix, and they're shredding it. It's going down. It's almost dead. And we are going to a game number 3.
Oh my goodness, that was insane play from the Protectors. We were praising the patience of Spaced Out in game 1, and it was a very, very good team comp that they drafted. But unfortunately in the late game, like there's a Kali on one side, and then there's Frey on the other. You gotta be really, really careful about who you let through, and this Kali just being able to do what she wanted. That AMC in that last fight, like he just died. He was one of the biggest components, and he just died like all the way to this T2 tower. No one cared. Everyone was fighting the Protectors up at like T1 range, and I feel like that opened up the door.
Yeah. I mean, Blink Tsukiyomi did his job. He saw someone out of the position, and he hopped on. Literally and figuratively, just hopped on the kill, murdered Lina, came back in, and they just couldn't do anything for it. I mean, they had so much shred. Del Raiden falls early, but Ghost Rider, Loki had so much burn. When Big Man Jesus did try and step up, Loki crit him to death. Kill a heal 5-0 and 11 did so much for this team. This Ravana, I now see why it's banned out from this team. Honestly, it was a mistake not banning out in the first phase. It is going for this game number 3. If Spaced Out don't ban this Ravana, well, I think we're gonna see a run back and we're gonna see a repeat of this game.
I mean, did you see what towers were doing to him? I didn't, because they did that little to him. Ravana just crazy carry for late game, just out of pure tankiness. But good game out of both. Spaced Out, as you the dumb pun you made earlier is being spacing out that game. Um, so
Are you gonna come back with a vengeance?
Yeah, I mean, they need. I want to see the Spaced Out of game 1, right? Protectors play that extremely well. They're very good at punishing you for making these small steps or missteps. I want to see Spaced Out of game 1, where they play careful, where they play a team fight centric. I know Big Man Jesus wants to be that aggressor on literally everyone. I mean, Blank Tsukiyomi didn't exist pre 20 minutes because of how much pressure Big Man Jesus had. But we'll be interested in seeing what game 3 has in store for us. As I'm gonna go for a quick break, real quick. I'll be right back with you guys in just a moment for game 3.
Fighter. Liking inspired. Fight.
teamfight mages in the game currently. And Kumbhakarna, a lot of disruption, a lot of rooting, a lot of CC, a lot of good teamfight aspects. And keep it, as you highlighted, a really good teamfight god because a lot of AoE, a lot of good CC. Protected Yggdrasil does have a tiny bit of that. I mean, they have, you know, the one of the best supports in the game currently, and Khepri, so that's never going to falter. As a bit of an invade was attempted and failed, not much is going to come off of that.
Mhm.
But it Protected Yggdrasil does have a lot of strong team fight too. They can take someone out temporarily of just literally the fight with Heimdallr's ultimate. Someone gets another life. Uh, Blank Tsukiyomi is going to be building into crit, mass damage, mass disruption, mass CC, and well, that's a lot more setup for this Scylla than there even was game one. I mean, you have a root, you literally just have the whole entire. You have special delivery from Mercury. You have the root again, and you once again have the banished from Heimdall. So Ghost Rider has a lot of setup coming from literally everywhere and anywhere.
It'd be very interesting to see how protectors play. Like last game, they played very, very well punishing the weaknesses. This game, I feel like with the Scylla, being able to set him up a little bit better will make Ghost Rider a little bit more comfortable. We won't just be seeing Big Man Jesus get killed by them. We'll see other members, I hope, being killed by it as well. But I am glad to see Spaced Out return to form of what they had game one. They played a very, very, very good patient game with that team fight comp that they had before. Um, so I think but I realistically think this game might come down to see which jungler starts popping off first, as these are both hyper carries. Big Man Jesus trying to make that first initial setup, and Persephone ult does come out,
You were getting that.
does get it. Priscilla does get the ult, special delivery. Barely a little bit too early for that Scylla, but I mean, good engagement already. They got Scylla beads and ult for what? Persephone ult? That's it?
Persephone and Nemesis ult.
Oh, Nem. I don't think Nem ulted. Nem just had blinked. So Nem
Oh,
is
never mind.
skill level 4.
Nemesis is
Special
level 4.
delivery does come out. Crush gonna do a decent amount of damage. You gotta be careful there, Big Man Jesus. It's a little bit backwards from what it was last game. You're Blank Tsukiyomi looking to chase this kill out, but unfortunately decides that enough's enough. He's gonna go around the other side, and Khepri has decided it's not enough and is chasing Big Man Jesus to his T2, man. Blank Tsukiyomi's trying to get some payback this time, but red team is starting to come around, trying to get someone out. Ravana here, ready to punish anyone who comes in, but blue team gonna make the smart decision, opt out as soon as the cavalry arrive.
Yeah, they're gonna take their hands off and be like, no more. No, we're done. We're good. We fought enough. There's no need to fight anymore. Ghost Rider, not really able to place there, has to farm up quite a bit. Lina is gonna, wasn't there either, so it wasn't the greatest fight for Spaced Out, but they did have Sparkfire coming in. And well, Ravana is still gonna do a lot of damage. He's an early game. He's not an early game, but he's an assassin in the early game, not really the unkillable monsters we told him has late game last game, but he still does a lot of damage, and that's what makes him so good. As it looks like Ghost Rider might be caught out here.
Yeah. Big
Never
Man
mind.
Jesus closing that gap. I mean, if Scylla wasn't Scylla, if Scylla was like say Yu Huang or the Merlin from last game, he might have died there. But
I
yeah.
think, yeah, probably if he was Merlin, he dies there. I don't think if he's Yu Huang, he dies, because Yu Huang's Yu Huang. God's the safest god in the game. But looking at a purple invade, it's gonna be shut down right away with the presence of Blank Tsukiyomi. A very, very smart call out coming
Oh.
from Ghost Rider, and a special delivery
Yeah,
coming out.
great
Loki
special
is
delivery.
here, great damage. And that's going to be
Yeah.
it.
I mean, the Nemesis. I see what the Nemesis wanted, but it looked like there was a little bit of miscommunication there. Just because the only person there was Nem. Kumba did come over to peel him out, and if he hadn't, we might be seeing First Blood. But
Yeah.
definitely trying to both teams trying to get aggressive early, and be interesting to see. I'm just excited to see which jungler posts up for First Blood.
Yeah, me too. I mean, whatever jungler gets First Blood is definitely going to be running the game as an ultimate is brought on to the Khepri Del
Okay.
Raiden.
Not enough
Not
damage.
enough.
It's early game Persephone. She needs to scale more than this Scylla, so
Yeah,
yeah.
as Ginger Archer going for the same build. This does bring the question with Failnaught back into the meta. Do you think Ginger Archer's gonna be building the Failnaught?
I mean, as a Cupid, probably like you're very ability based, so having that cooldown will be very, very important. It's 20% CDR for a what is it, hunter item,
Yeah, yep.
and then on top of that, all your team crits as well. But you do sacrifice a bit of attack speed for it, so it'll be interesting to see how the build path goes. I wouldn't mind the fail not, but I know before he went a crit build on Hachiman with this,
Yeah,
so
yeah, I don't hate it. Definitely a good build nonetheless. I mean, it really worked out. A lot of penetration. Failnaught only brings more. It brings another 10% penetration to the table.
ooh,
So
as a fight might bring out over this red buff. And sorry to interrupt, but it looks like things are
yeah,
getting spicy around the red buff. They do indeed not get the red buff. Red team just being a little bit easier able to secure that. They might be looking for a kill here. This Capri a little bit caught out, but I
ooh,
don't
good
think
route.
they're gonna
That's it.
have the damage, and the peel from the Scylla is good.
Yeah, I mean, Ghost Rider. He's kind of the hypothetical Paul in this situation. He's not really he's had his real good moments. You know, much like in season 7 of World Championships, he had his really good moments. He popped off real hard, but yeah, he's just kind of farming up, literally. Like he's done nothing but farm, and it's been kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, what else are you gonna do as a Scylla's Fields of Love forced out from this Cupid? Heimdall also having to ult just to keep himself not stunned. And even past the beads as the ultimate doesn't connect as both hunters just beats that. There's a
Yeah,
Kepri looking for something, but looks like he might just back. It's Cupid. Cupid stepping up, but Kepri root off. Kepri's looking for this. Kepri. Okay, I was about to say, does Cupid not know? No, Cupid has to know. As Mercurial does miss, launches him into the tower. Beads, no beads on Ginger, so this could be a kill and is indeed a kill. First blood going to the protections of Yggdrasil off the back end of off the back of a lot of missed abilities, but in the end, connecting. Great
yeah,
play from protectors there.
yeah, and it goes on to Locky. Locky, I don't know how it ended up working out, but he had that third auto in the chain come out and just beam Ginger right in the head as it seemed. It was almost comical in a way, but doing so much more damage. You know, 181, 181, and a 217 to someone to a Naga with no protections. I mean, it's gonna be dealing that much to Ginger Archer, and Ginger Archer can't be withstanding that as that's almost a fully stacked Transcendence. Locky gonna be going into another item. That's gonna be the Aussie, giving him sustain. That first blood bounty coming ahead, giving him the advantage that he pretty much needed. And well, Blank Tsukiyomi is gonna be going into this rage, as we're not gonna see much else. Maybe another fight here.
Yeah, maybe 3v2. I mean,
Good kill.
Nemesis having a great blink too, but unfortunately Kepri even better. I mean, I think they're looking for this red buff, but Blank Tsukiyomi, you just dashed in, my guy. Scylla being forced to have to peel you out, and the new DR changes being the thing that saved them. Heimdall saving the Nemesis, but
Not
for
for long.
how long, who knows? Fortunately, not that very long, and they will get the kill, but expend a little bit more than they would like. Scylla, on the other hand, does get caught out on the back end. That Kepriel coming out just a little bit too late for that Scylla. It'll be a
Yeah.
1-for-1 jungle for mid in favor of, I'd say, spaced out in that context.
Yeah, space that really does. Oh, good secure.
Ooh.
Ginger Archer does have to be careful. Bifrost is used very smart, but it looks like it isn't fast enough. You can't do that now. But Ginger Archer has to be careful. He can't step up, because if he does, Locky's going to have one of those nice and tasty axes coming right for his dome.
Does
Kumbhakarna
look like
is here.
Vile. Yeah, Vileblood is lurking in the waters, but unfortunately, he's just gonna leave now. Not much to be found. This Heimdall is being really, really safe, and I appreciate the play Heimdall went for. I think the only thing he could have done better is put it down before he started TPing, but maybe wasn't. But the time was just a little bit off. But great mindset though.
If that was pre-nerf Heimdall air when it was like really fast, he could have gotten away with that.
Probably
Like season 7, yeah. I get
season
that.
7 when he was crazy.
Gosh. Oh,
Uh,
that was insane. I can't tell you. Like I remember just as an 80 as a solo main, wanting to go into ADC and just seeing Heimdall and like, man. Well, I don't want to play ADC anymore. I'm gonna stick to solo lane.
uh, I mean, I just remember Yarkor being like the first one to go, or was it? No, it wasn't Yarkor. Yarkor did a Panda Cat move. Where Panda Cat just did the crystal and the ult, and it was crazy. Oh my goodness, Heimdall used to be like, it used to be, not even used to be, it still is. As it looks like both teams are posting up around this Gold Fury. One team just kind of looking like they might go for it. The other team just keeping a presence so they don't. Um, both teams just kind of staring at each other. Not much happening, but Khepri a little bit far up. Does get rooted by the Kumbhakarna. Ginger Archer having a bit of an aggressive positioning. Might get caught out. Khepri looking at him. Or not. Heimdall's looking at him. Ults him. And
Right through the realms.
Vileblood. You got to get in front of him. Gets the
Oh, yeah, he
Aegis
gets
out of Ginger Archer there. And very unfortunate miscommunication from the support on side of Spaced Out. I mean, the circle's there for everyone as there's an Nemesis ult coming out in Scylla. Scylla does get out, unfortunately, a little bit safer than Big Man Jesus is respecting.
liking? Yeah. Maybe he's not. He's still getting you. He's still thinking that Merlin still has that Merlin range. With Nemesis, you can catch up really easily, but with a Scylla, that's about half a lane. Your dash doesn't go half a lane, especially halfway into a tier 2. Ginger Archer is looking interesting. A nice dash. That's going to be it. Spaced Out does take the Pyromancer, but with a few low health bars. Ooh, rough
Ooh,
ultimate there,
great
but I
ultimate from
missed my
Mercury to
time.
catch up to the team. They do give Vileblood for it, forcing out the Persephone ult. Yeah, and though the ult was off the mark, did get him where he needed to be, and special delivery delivered the Kumba to the hands of protectors.
Yeah, I mean, it worked really well. Something I'd like to mention, just for those who don't know, Spaced Out is 2nd seed, and Protectors of Yggdrasil is 7th seed. I, it's mind blowing. These teams are insane, but a good
Okay, good
in-game,
confirm.
yeah, good confirm, coming out from Protectors of Yggdrasil. It seems like they weren't worried at all. Maybe Ginger was just an extra bit of help. Just a little bit of help to them.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Totally didn't scare us, and maybe them. But
Uh,
this just does not look like a 2nd seed to 7th seed matchup.
this is like watching like a
There's-
mirror match of like SPL. Like just because
this
they're
is
low on the board, like what is it, Atlantis Leviathans or Dragons? They're gonna be as competitive as the Oni Warriors or who's the top seed? Like Kings. Yeah, it's gonna be competitive. And it's very very nice to see, very refreshing to see. So
yeah, Protectors of Yggdrasil. They've been making a standout performance there. If we're gonna continue to make those season 7 comparisons, I called Ghost Rider Paul. It seems like they're gonna be at least attempting to make the Knights
yeah,
come back.
ooh,
Ooh,
Kumbhakarna.
unfortunate.
The ultimate on Capri just a little bit too late. He wasn't ready for the Kumbhakarna to ult him there. So
Yeah.
great play from Kumba. A little bit lackluster on the Khepri this game, in my opinion. It's 2 missed ultimates
Yeah.
so far.
Real unfortunate there. Just that doesn't feel good. Del Rain, he's just getting that read. Just sometimes maybe not having the best of ultimate choices, but he's learning his abilities, as I like to say. Sometimes you just gotta know that you can't get a Kumbhakarna ultimate. You just gotta take it off of. You just as soon as they land, as soon as Blank Tsukiyomi landed, that's when I personally would have done the ult, because I know no matter what, I can't hit that pre Kumbhakarna ult. It's gonna be way too dangerous. But a bit of trading is what did happen in that solo lane. And Practice Yggdrasil, well, they're sitting pretty still. I mean, they're what 1,000 k, 1,000 up. You know, a bit of a small gap. Yeah, just about 1,000. At one point was 2,000. Uh, with XP going in favor of Spaced Out. But Protectors, they're not sweating it. Neither is Spaced Out. This is end up going to be going into the late game, and well, that's if I'm Protectors, I'm happy going to late game because a late game Heimdall and a late game Scylla and a late game, not a late game Skimmy, but a late game Mercury works out well for me. I mean, you're gonna be dealing a lot of damage. You're scaling with this crit. You have one stack on rage. You now have a Deathbringer. You're gonna be going into even more items now. Is Blank Tsukiyomi looking to pretty much just carry this game?
Yeah, it'll be differently interesting. You've now got a Mercury who's online, Deathbringer Rage. Literally the only two items he needs at that point to kill people.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting going these fights because, as you stated, there's a late game Heimdall who hits like a truck. There's a late game Mercury who's going to crit you to death. It's Capri. Okay, I was worried there for a second. And then you got a late game Scylla who also bursts you. And looks like we're going to have Blank Tsukiyomi diving this Cupid. Little unwise. Heimdall does hit the ultimate ability and is probably going to get the kill on this Cupid. A little bit of an over aggressive step from the Mercury, but Heimdall does clean it up,
Lucky.
Locky. But Locky, why did you not run
No.
to your tower? Locky gonna fall as well. Forced to use his Aegis. He doesn't have the crystals anymore as he used them to get away the first time. Like uh, these kind of missteps cannot happen. I mean, Protectors of Yggdrasil, like you guys did it this game too, punishing them every way step of the way. This game you can't let Spaced Out do it back to you, as they're
Yeah.
just gonna get a free. They're gonna get free totem at this point. But back to the topic. Four. Though you have these late game scaling on the side of Protectors, as we said, you've got Merc, Scylla, Heimdall, as long as they're not throwing under T1 towers. You've also got Mulan, who's going to match Ravana in about as much tankiness as he can, because she's got sustaining ability as well. I was worried for Ghost Rider there for a second, as there was a small engagement. She's gonna be as tanky. Maybe not as tanky as she used to be. But you do have Rav on the other side, who, despite that, Mulan gonna ult in on this Pyromancer. Spaced Out, really not expecting that one. Do secure the Pyromancer, and looks like blue team might continue fighting as Bakarna passive does come out and does go down.
Yeah. I
Pyromancer
mean,
for one.
that's I don't really want to take that trade, because it just kind of sets up other fights. But you
Yes,
know,
Capri. Yeah.
Capri is speaking of other
Ooh,
fights, this is what it sets
gr-
up. Line
great
is low.
ultimate great
Coming
ultimate
up.
out of this Mercury. Like, I the Persephone. I don't know if they had like called Mercury ult was up or not, but I just saw Persephone sitting in lane, Mercury staring at her after clapping, and like, what do you think he's gonna do, Persephone? Walk away. But
Yeah, obviously. You mean he
yeah,
isn't gonna just cross jungle Sonic Boom as Big
yeah.
Man Jesus
Oh
looking to
my
cross this jungle, 362 damage with, well, little power. Can't
yeah,
imagine that scaling.
yeah. Blue team trying to go
Further.
for this. Blue team trying to go for this Gold Fury. Apparently, the Capri didn't get the memo. Is he will fall to the side of Spaced Out. Spaced Out are focusing down Kill a Heal right now. Heimdall doing a decent bit of damage. Vile Blood Mitch now in front, and that's gonna be the Gold Fury call off the table. This Capri, I know I said something about his ultimates, but like at this point, he's kind of like throwing his. Now Blink Tsukuyomi is now in trouble. It's Ravana blinks on him, ults on him. Aegis comes out of the Mercury, and Rav just gonna get the kill. Like, there's not much you can do. Loki does solo Ginger Archer over on the other side with the help of Ghost Rider. And yeah, it's 3v5. Loki does get another kill, saving Ghost Rider in the meantime. And
Saving
looks
Private
like
Ghost.
saving Private Ghost as this Persephone's on the hunt now. Persephone at the red buff right now. Fortunately, not in the greatest position. So if blue team does seek to engage on her, that'll be that. And it looks like red team will just disengage. I'm strange calls, a little bit of just wanting to scrap now. Maybe both teams just trying to force a lead. like these first 2 games, but unfortunately, it's going in the favor of Protector.
I think he's just trying to get get that final rage stack. Honestly, that's why he's fighting. He's telling his team to int for the final rage stack. So it's what I would have done, honestly. I mean,
You know
fully
what?
stacked rage has a nice red aura.
You know what? Fair enough, I guess. I mean, I don't know if it's the wisest decision, because to start that fight, there was supposed to be a Gold Fury call. And then Kepri's off in no man's land doing whatever Kepri's doing.
Dalrain, he's not as tanky as he thinks. But something I would like to mention. So there is like a Mulan here who has a lot of healing. Um, and just zero anti-heal coming out from spaced out. I mean, last game they had anti-heal for literally the Ravana, and now we have
A
Mulan
divine.
who a divine. Yeah, there's a divine. That's it. Literally a divine. And I don't
Gray
know.
Mercurial onto Gray Mercurial. Big Man Jesus just dead. The final stack of rage. Now up. Mulan is gonna ult out of that ultimate. Cupid is going to ult down on her. Kepri ult finally lands, saves the Mulan here. And looks like blue team is safe just to disengage here, though it looks like they're one more. This Capri missing the pluck, but is one that aggression. Blank Tsukiyomi does get caught by the root, so he can't exactly go in a little bit further, but looks like blue team is wanting to aggress a little bit here. Maybe trying to, again, force this lead to be even bigger. Killer Heal does blink in, does get the 3, and looks like they're still fighting around this T1. Silol does come out, only hits the Kumbhakarna. That setup from before with Heimel not coming out. Kumbha passive does get pulled, does fall. So they do get that little bit of pushback, another pick for the side of Protectors. But at this point, they're just
Tier
looking for the
1.
tower.
I don't think
Well,
they're gonna be
half
able to
of them.
get it.
I think they're just going to go for a Gold Fury call. I mean, probably the wiser call. This game, like we were talking about earlier, how it's been very, very competitive. It seems like both teams are slowly starting to fall out of sync with each other. The first game was great, just in sync. Everyone was in sync up until late game where the Protectors kind of fell off. But this game, both sides are showing a hesitance on or lack of synergy in how they want to do things.
It has to just come from that exhaustion. I mean, they played a 45-minute competitive, drawn-out game and that drained Protectors. Protectors then literally clawed back into game number 2, took it 29 minutes in, and now game number 3. We're approaching 25 minutes, and we had our second Fury fall. Literally just had our second Fury fall, so this is looking to be a longer one.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's not the worst because the longer this goes, right? Both teams scale up, both teams get even, and then spaced out. If they play this patient game that they played game 1, though they're a little bit more out of sync than game 1, they do still have that high team fight presence. Nemesis ult on literally anyone, and they're just dead. Especially if you get Kepri, then you're just another tank.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you've got Persephone ult, you've got Ravana, this time on your side, tanking those towers and tanking those phoenixes, taking literally no damage. So it'll be interesting. Another interesting pick as we're going to this fire giant fight. I was about to go start discussing the redstone, but looks like red team is not going to let us have it as they are wise on this fire giant pool and are looking to engage. Nemesis ult does come out on the kill heal. Cupid ult does come back in response. Ginger Archer will get the kill on Blank Tsukiyomi. The Mercury now gone. No one to crit these characters to death other than Cupid. Nemesis is going to blink in on Ghost Rider. Does fall to Ghost Rider with the help of the ADC. But on the backside, Del Raiden will ultimate Ghost Rider. And then he will proceed to deliver Ghost Rider into their hands.
I
Very
honestly
unfortunate.
Didn't think the Capriol would work like that. I'm gonna be honest. That's actually interesting.
I know it works like that because I've unfortunately been on that receiving end like Ghost Rider. Unfortunately, Lucky just stepping up a little bit too far and does get picked out. But yeah, I mean, Gabriel's a finicky thing. I believe one time I played Kepri, ulted someone. I was like, yeah, you're safe, because I died, so you should be fine. Gets teleported right back to literally the entire enemy team. As it looks like Kill Heal might go for a Hail Mary steal here. Does have ultimate, so could ult into there, but very, very low health. I feel like if he
Yeah, that's
steps
gonna
up,
give
he'll
it up.
be throwing. So I'm just gonna give that over to side of protectors, or not protectors, spaced out.
I mean,
And
it's almost what you have to do there.
yeah,
You lost so bad. You don't want to get a deicide to the point where you're losing another person. So now you're fighting a siege, two people down rather than only one. They're gonna back anyways, but now you're just essentially that would just be choosing to fight a siege a man down. Um, Blank Tsukiyomi um just has doing a lot of damage. 1,055 on a crit, going huge.
oh, big man Jesus is
Oh,
catching him out. Mercury is opting to ult out. Does get ult for ult, but Blink Tsukiyomi's gonna have the back here as the red team is going to look for the siege on the left side here. Either I feel like the call would be to sweep the Phoenixes, but if say Blank Tsukiyomi got picked again or went back in with half health and did get picked, I feel like that could be a Phoenix siege at that point. So blue team gonna have to be a little bit careful, especially with Mulan over on the other side. Does have the TP heroic teleport being very, very useful this late in the game for these just pop up and fight. And there it is. And they might be looking to defend this T2 with Mulan,
yeah.
and that indeed they are. Nemesis does not have ultimate, so going around Blank Tsukiyomi does get the special delivery onto Big Man Jesus, but Heimdall is pulling someone deeper into the tower. No ultimate, is just the Kumbhakarna, so probably gonna just get out. Does use Kumbha ult. Blink over the wall from Big Man Jesus, and Cupido looking to engage. Persephone also engages. Great engagement out of spaced out here. Kepri forced to ult himself to buy a little bit more time, but unfortunately isn't going to be enough, and he will fall in the meantime as the team just waits it out. And I
Yeah,
think that's just a Phoenix at that point. Like this,
it's a Phoenix and
oh
maybe
my god,
a
spaced
riskier
out,
end. Oh,
spaced out. If they get a pick here, this could be huge. One pick could be the end of this game. Blue team has got to be careful here. One minor misstep, and that's all. But red team looking to back up. Titan a little bit too tanky to go for, especially with three members on side. But
four
most important
towers.
bird most important bird still up
Yeah,
or down. Most important bird is down. Let me rephrase.
yeah. It is indeed. It is down. It's and that feels rough. If you're protectors, you really have a harder time stepping up to this next fire giant, which is going to be EFG. So you need to be there. You can't give it up. Hopefully, you're going to be pushing out these waves in this time. With Fire Giant now going to be coming now in the last minute of Fire Giant, it's going to feel a bit better. They're going to be taking this Pyromancer, Protected Yggdrasil, definitely in a good spot. Blank Tsukiyomi.
Not.
I
It's fine. We've all had
uh,
those days where you think the
we
camp's
all
dead.
yeah. I I
uh,
I I can't say I haven't done that. I actually as an ADC, I go ahead. I'm playing Heimdall. I hit it with like my big auto. I hit the go through the big auto.
mhm.
And literally leave on 1 health, and my support just finishes it off. It just like essentially just solos it. It took him like 6 autos,
Sounds
and,
about
and,
right.
and, and he was just complaining the entire time to me as I just act not realizing it. I was like, oh, I'm sorry.
It's fine. It just took 6 autos. If it took 7, you might have had it stolen, but it's fine. As it's
Yeah,
looking like red team realizing Fire Giant is wearing off on them now. Is just looking for the towers here, T1s at the very least, just to make these sieges a little bit easier. And going into builds right now, definitely Mercury with crit. It's kind of insane, kind of a big deal. But on this other side, we have exiglyphs now, properly working as intended, and the Nemesis has opted for ferocious. How do you feel? How do you feel about ferocious versus the heavy axe? I know that
So,
Heavy X is a little bit more for auto canceling, but I was just curious about that.
specifically on Nemesis, Big Man Jesus is going on a more attack speed oriented build, so I do like it a bit more. Um, he is getting above that 1.75 threshold, and it's you're not gonna be hitting as hard, but you are gonna be hitting nicely. You are gonna get those nice after abilities damage from the ferocious executioner. And Locky also ended up picking it up, so he's gonna have that nice shred on him. And it's overall gonna work pretty well. Fire Giant did drop as fire waves are pouring in to the Titan. I'm not too sure who they'd want to send back. They can't not send someone back here. Two fire waves would be coming in. That
Mhm.
I mean, pretty much half health, core health, maybe even half health your Titan. So
Yes,
they have to either
fight's
win
starting
this
to go
fight.
underway, and Ginger Archer forced to beads there. And yeah, I mean, the only person I could send back is Mulan, but right now the fight's beginning. Mulan does ult in onto Ginger Archer, force the Aegis out. Nemesis ult does come out and kill a heal, but Del Raiden does miss the ultimate again, and unfortunately, that will result in the end of Kill a Heal. That ultimate being a little bit too finicky for his liking. Locky will fall shortly after, and Del Raiden soon after. But Ghost Rider does get a really, really good pick on the other side, and so does Blank Tsukiyomi. But that is that's four members down on the side of Protectors. I got to do my math today, but
Yeah,
left
I
side Phoenix also about to fall.
I think because I don't think Titan can get damaged anymore, so you just kind of defend the left side Phoenix once again. Let them have Fire Giants. You weren't going to be getting it anyways, really. So good call there. Only three people have Fire Giant, of course. Two of the most important people do have it, so it's going to be a much, much harder defense on Protectors of Yggdrasil than it would have if they just gotten it, because they wouldn't have had to defend. But that that's in the past. Protectors need to pull out a great defense, and they're definitely capable of it. They have a Mulan who is good at defense, but more importantly, they have a Mercury, they have a Scylla, they have a Heimdall. All people who can stall out that defense. They just need to get to this Cupid and Persephone. They can't let them be. They can't be distracted by Ginger Archer. They can't be distracted by Big Man Jesus or Sparkfire. They need to put their focus on Ginger Archer because he's the person that is really gonna be hurting them so much. He is going for this death's embrace, so he does have quite a bit of sustain.
It'll be definitely interesting. I definitely do agree that Ginger Archer and this Persephone need to be looked at. Lina has had a really good performance all set. So just letting Lina just sit there and do whatever he wants and free cast, and it'll be very, very hard for Protectors if he is able to do that, as Persephone has a lot of flowers, and it is at that point where those flowers will hit more like a truck than a pretty little rose.
Yeah, they will hurt, and they'll hurt a lot. Uh, it's Protectors of Yggdrasil. They are poised for this defense. Spaced out, going for the weakened Phoenix. But even though they have EFG, they can't. They need to be on tempo with these minion waves, because if they aren't, then it's gonna be a bit rough for them. Um, they need to make sure that these minion waves are going in because the Phoenix is still gonna do a lot of damage. It's not gonna be doing as much because of that Emperor's armor, but it's still gonna be doing a decent amount of damage. But more importantly, that's gonna be giving Protectors just a bit more of an advantage. So, Spaced Out playing the long game and being very smart about it works well.
I mean, definitely a smarter strategy. We saw it in game one where Spaced Out was in this situation where they had to defend and they played it very well, very patiently. And it looks like red team's looking to engage here in the very, very soon. I mean, in the mid lane, you see the staring contest between Blank Tsukiyomi and the Nemesis, but does look like Nemesis does get the kill, and that is the go sign for the side of Spaced Out. They use all their ultimates on this one. Kill heal, unable to do much. Does get Kepri ulted, so they do still have that member. Ravana does ult in. Those mitigations now coming in handy as they go for this Phoenix, but fortunately, you've got 2 DPS on you,
Careful.
and he you got to be a little bit careful. The Phoenix does fall, but Scylla does some damage, but unfortunately not enough to save Del Raiden's life as big man Jesus does get the kill on him. 5-man strong on the side of Spaced Out as they go for this. They're opting to go for these T2s. Just make this Titan as squishy as humanly possible.
Yeah, I mean
And
they're 5 people strong. They can really do whatever they want against 3 people. So they need to be careful. Spaced Out really needs to hold this because if they lose one Phoenix or another person, that's game. But if Protectors of Yggdrasil, they can pull this off. I mean, Ghost Rider has a lot. It's about 15 seconds on this
yeah,
Fire Giant. So if it runs out
as
before anyone
it,
dies, it's not going to look nice.
yeah, as the engagement does begin, Heimdall forced into his crystal just from a little bit of poke from Sparkfire and Spaced Out opting to back up a little bit more, as you
Fire
said.
Giant's
Fire
gone.
Giant's falling off, and now it should be gone. There it goes. And that's maybe still a 5v4 at this point, but still, no Fire Giant means you don't have the advantage anymore. But that's 2 Phoenixes. All the towers are now gone, versus the last one where they had a few towers left up. And it's going to look like another fight. Protectors of Yggdrasil have now officially reached full build, other than barring upgrade from the Kepri. And the other side, same thing. Again, barring upgrade from the support, opting to upgrade his relics a little bit sooner than the Kepri. And
That's
this fight should be interesting. And I feel like this last firefight, very reminiscent of the first game, is going to be very, very much the deciding factor between which team wins and which team goes into,
yeah.
yeah,
Literally
which
talk
team
about
goes home.
which team is going to go home. And figuratively, of course, not literally. Hopefully, they're all sitting in the comfort of their own homes. But Fire Giant is spawning, and well, Protectors are nowhere near. It looks like Spaced Out is gonna end up getting it.
Yeah, I mean, it's Heimdall all the way in left lane. He does not have teleport, by the way. Mercury did sell Golden Blade, so he's down an entire item here, which is a little bit strange why you wouldn't just pick one up. But Fire Giant does go cleanly in favor of Spaced Out Protectors of Yggdrasil. Seeing it not quite worth to throw the game just in favor of one Fire Giant. But that being said, there's only one more Phoenix on the board. Heimdall isn't there to defend. He's all the way at the T2, so this could be the go button for Spaced Out, and it in fact is the go button, as they're just going to walk straight into this Phoenix room. The Heimdall's not there to stop them, so that's the third Phoenix off the board. 3 birds, 1.5 Fire Giants, and they're gonna go in on the Kepri here. Kepri forced to ult himself. Locky does get the pick back onto this Nemesis, and Cupid ult is gonna come out, try and stop this engagement a little bit more out of favor of Protectors, but they do still have Kumba ult and still have Rav ult to engage. Rav does engage onto Blank Tsukiyomi, forces the beads out, and looks like a great defense so far out of the Protectors, truly protecting their Titan.
Yeah, call our Titan Yggdrasil because they're protecting it quite well, but they can't let these minions enter the Titan room. They still do a lot of damage.
Unfortunately, Kepri's the only one back there as blue team's choosing to chase out these kills instead. Not having that Kepri who's like an extra frontline, only having kill to heal. And red team, they are sustaining up with this EFG, a lot more potent sustain out than a normal Fire Giant. And they're low. The side of Protectors is getting low. Kill heal is falling here. They do get an ultimate, but only on Kumbhakarna. Ghost Rider falling for it. And this might just be the end call. Only 3 members left of the Protectors. Spaced Out running it down toward this middle lane. Beats out of the Heimdall just way too late. Does fall. And this is going to be game number 3. Ravol comes out of the Tsukiyomi. And I feel like this is going to be game number 3 in favor of Spaced Out. 2-1ing the Protectors of Yggdrasil. And
a crazy defense.
That's
a nice ultimate coming out of Kepri, but the Titan is burning, and it's burning fast. Protectors of Yggdrasil, the 7th seed are going home. Spaced Out, projected they're going to be coming back on almost. That is a deicide, and that is it. Spaced Out going on to the semifinals, taking their road.
that was a very, very back and forth fight near the end. I mean, it should have favored the Spaced Out a little bit more. I feel like there's a little bit of miscommunication, or in benefit of the doubt to the Protectors, a lot of really good communication on the other side. But Sparkfire, Spaced Out, if I can get my names right, does take that out 2-1. Great performance out of both teams this set. Might have been second versus seventh seed, but Protectors came up. They showed up. They did a good game, but fortunately, Spaced Out will win this one, and very, very convincingly, I think, in game three.
Yeah, they they definitely showed why they're second seed. They're able to play these late games just so well. They they looked really really nice in the set once again, and the return to this team fight comp worked insanely well for them. I really honestly it was I honest just no choice. You know, you can't step up to Spaced Out in a late game team fight unless you have a lead. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna show it. We're gonna throw it down to a quick break here as we set up for our interview.
It's more than emotion. I feel I'm never gonna stop. 'Cause I'm falling deep, I guess the pressure's built right up. With all this desire I've been carrying around, feeling elated, I don't wanna come back down. Here I am, there you are, don't wanna stop. I know, you know it, I can feel it. All the tension rising up, so much it hurts. We're staying more than I can't imagine what I would even say. This has become a passion that is changing me. We're speaking a language that no one understands. Far from the surface, I know this will never end. Here I am, there you are, don't wanna stop.
Hello, hello, everybody. We're welcome back. We're gonna be going ahead. We're gonna get our interviews started, as we have from Protectors of Yggdrasil's first, Blank Tsukiyomi, man. How you doing? A bit of a rough loss.
Oh no, though that's it. Oh god,
It was a long one.
that was a very long set. Obviously my Ola. I don't know why I picked Ola game one. I do not have a good Ola. Um, well, we tried.
You tried. Yeah. It, it
uh,
didn't end up working out.
no, it did not. I honestly just couldn't get anything going. No damage was getting off.
Mhm.
In game one, and it was really infuriating.
Yeah.
But we almost got it, and then we threw the game on a couple of bad Phoenix takes and
Yeah.
gave away a free game unfought.
Definitely very, very rough. But I want to transition to game 2 with this Collie pick. Uh, it seemed to work out really well in the early game. You were seeming to get bullied uh, quite a bit, and then you just out of nowhere, you just come back on and just essentially win your team a fight, and that being the
Oh,
game-winning fight.
BMJ. That man made my life a misery for 20 minutes. I was running around
Yeah,
the map, and a Bologna would see me and start running at me, and it's like, well, I guess I'm dead. Oh, but
it
no,
seemed
I
like
mean, yeah, I got to late game. I got my items online, and then it was kind of I need beads in every fight, otherwise I get disarmed by Bologna.
yeah, it definitely was looking like that, but you guys ended up winning that game. It looked really nice. Game number 3, walk me through a bit of the draft. It looked really nice. I mean, the your pick worked out relatively well. The Mercury and the Scylla. Is were you guys just was that the original plan going into game number 3? Was that the plan for game number 2 or?
The draft. Oh god. So we wanted the Capri. We find, well, I mean, the team found Capri really annoying to play against and play with, but so we wanted to take the Capri away from them. I think going back, we should have picked up the Ravan again because that was a really strong pick in going into game 2. But we did end up getting the Capri. The Scylla is more of a safety pick.
Mhm.
We were expecting Liner as a decent mid laner, and Ash being one of the weaker ones in the league, we wanted him playing
Yeah.
something safe, something easy to play, and something that he could get his damage off and is secure, without having to worry too much about the gap if
Yeah.
there was one. So we wanted to make sure he was safe, he was comfortable, and then we were going to play around duo with Lockie and me. I spent a lot of time in Merc just ulting over there at the Cupid, trying to get that man out of the game. Unfortunately, he still killed me a lot.
Yeah.
That Cupid was a menace, absolute menace in game 3.
Yeah. It definitely looked quite insane. Uh,
Mm.
going into it, looking towards next season. Your season is now over. Uh, Definitely a bit rough. A rough way to end it. Such a close game. Looking into next season, what are the prospects?
Well, I mean, the team's disbanded now, right? Because it's the end of the season. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just me. Well, I don't know what I'm looking for next season, but it should be an interesting one. I could be a captain next season. Depends. But I mean,
Yeah.
I'm definitely looking for some potential talent, and it should be a very interesting. I think there are a lot of good players in the league. There are talks about a mid division now, so splitting some of the LDs and upper division down into a middle division, which should be very interesting. Um, but yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting season too.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for it. Well, thank you so much for this. We're gonna go ahead. We're we're gonna see you out, Blank Tsukiyomi. You did great in your games, and thank you so much for your time. So we're gonna segue right into our other interview.
Thank you.
All right.
Alrighty, and here we have. Oh no, here we have the team of Spaced Out joining us here slowly but surely. Um, just to okay. Going into the set versus the Protectors of Yggdrasil. The second seed, obviously, going to this tournament, and then they were 7th seed. How was it going in the game? And like having this extremely competitive set. How did you guys feel going into the set versus the Protectors? How were you looking at it?
Do you want to answer first or should I?
Okay. It was definitely like a slog. We've had some rough games recently. In general, the form's just been a bit off with us. So going into it, we definitely sort of needed confidence boost. So coming back game 1 when we were 12k down to be able to sort of redeem that and bring ourselves back into it was a huge team effort. And the way that we managed, just hold the mentals together and bring it back, that was really big for us. And even with losing game 2, there wasn't like a stage after that where we weren't like thinking, yeah, we're gonna get through this, we're gonna get to the semis. I think just because of how we managed to bring that together, we were always confident that we could come back from losing situations from that point. So it definitely helped. And then getting the draft that we did game 3 was pretty big for us.
Yeah, it definitely was. One thing I was very, very much happy about, and you guys were saying coming out of losing positions, the patience. How is it in those games, the long slogs, where you're down most of the game, and then you guys have the patience to just. I think it was Phoenix Siege of game 1 where you guys were able to pull it back and pull back all the pressure, where Cthulhu just came in, all this. What was the thinking? What's the thinking at that point in the game? I'm sorry to ask about it all out of the thinking, but what's the thinking of all of the patience and thing? Like, is it just a we'll get through this or
Well, you're asking the wrong guys, press buttons, but basically, we were just kind of like, we knew we were kind of struggling and we know what was going wrong. And if a sign of an argument came out, we shut it down quite quickly. And we just kept communicating on what was going on. And as soon as we saw an opening, it just like we were just like, okay, that's what it is. We need to go now, and that's basically how it went because we knew we could have held out with the comp that we went out, so we just held out, waited for the openings, and just really took them when we could. Really,
okay? And then I got one more question on game 3, Ginger Archie. How was laning against the Heim? How did you feel laning against the Heim, especially with the Mercury coming in and
I definitely threw away First Blood. I just got too cocky thinking I was only a Kepri. I disregarded the fact that there was a Mercury. So First Blood was my fault. I let myself get behind on that, but luckily the Heim, I had some good rotations to counter things from Mitch and BMJ. Um, Blank inted under tower for me, gave me both his relics and the kill. I almost avoided the high mult, might have picked up another, but it was little things that kind of allowed me to get back into it. And with the Heim as well, I expected that it was unlikely he was going to be going crit. Didn't when he played the Gibelonka in game 1 as well. So me, I was just thinking it's a case of okay, the Merc's going to have crit, but we've got enough to counter that in the back line, so we're going to be able to do enough to sort of take down any target that we need to when we get there. So the Hind did have a lead, don't get me wrong, but we just were able to nullify how much punishment was there from it because of again some great rotations from my support and from the jungler. So even though he had the lead, when it came to team fighting, I was still relevant because I'd not been punished on all my camps as well. I was still able to farm. So credit to them, they kept me in it.
great performance out of you guys spaced out. And thank you, Ginger Archer, and thank you, Vileblood, for joining us here. As we're gonna go ahead and go into um, the end, actually. Yeah, the end here. Thank you guys so much. You guys played great. Good luck in the semifinals. Looking forward to watching how it goes.
Thank you very
And yeah,
much.
thank you.
thank you, everybody. Tournament here. Just having a really competitive set. So looking forward to the rest of the teams and how they perform, especially looking at Spaced Out going to semifinals as a really strong team fight team. And yeah, thank you everybody for stopping by and watching. And we hope you guys have a good one.